Yes, y'all. It's your boy Koku here hosting tonight. Hopefully, we can have a good or even a great show tonight. Please, I'm going to say it early on, support the Cash App, support the Super Chat, support the channel so that we can keep bringing these conversations to the fore. With that said, thank you all who have been supporting Jacadero while he's been hosting. Sometimes a little bit iffy when he will and won't host. That's why we missed last week, but I'm here this week, and I'll be here, I guess, for the foreseeable future. Good. That means that my sound is coming through, so I don't have to wait for one from anyone in the chat. With that said, you know what? Let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight, we are going to talk about the dangers of white friendship for Black people. We're going to talk about, or try to answer the question, when is it okay for Black people to defend themselves? This is an interesting one. It says, do you think there might be something to this? And this is in response to a meme that was going around about concerning kind of a a Black hierarchy between global Black people. We're going to talk about the image of the Western Sahara. And lastly, seriously, brothers, where is the state of humanity going? You don't want to miss that one either. That's what we're going to cap off tonight. So with that said, shout out to the matron who says greetings. Greetings to the matron. Make sure you guys support the matron when she returns with her book readings. In the meantime, let me start the show officially. And on the other side, I'll drop Shooter Breeze topic number 1, as well as introduce any and all of my panelists tonight. So please stay tuned. Hit the like button on your way in. Share the show. Share it on social media. Tag me if you're sharing it on Twitter. Let me know that you shared it. And just simply call a friend over. Invite a friend to tune in. All right? So do stay tuned.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where Black problems are addressed with Black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Yes, indeed. We're here. I have one panelist with me so far. That'll be Black Seal. Black Seal, how are you this week?
I'm good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thanks for being here tonight. Speaking of that, in the chat, We have Anthony who's saying peace to everybody, matron included. He said he'll be up soon as he fixes his Bahama Mama drink, I guess. We got a lot of slaughter in the chat as well with the RBG color. So appreciate all of you for tuning in and making it known that you're actually tuned in with us tonight. So I should have prepared this before, I guess, but let me just grab Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 so we might begin. Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 says the dangers of white friendship for black people. This came with a link. Let me make sure it's loaded right. This first link is going to, all of these attachments are going to take us to Instagram. So let's load up the first one. Trigger Happy is here saying peace, peace as well. Let's go here. So this is the first video, and then I'll play the next two, and then after that we'll discuss it.
Situation, the 18-year-old kid on some boat ride with his friends in Mississippi, Horns Island or something, and he ends up missing, but the white dudes are there. The three bozos don't know where he is, right? And what's really funny is they ended up erasing their IG really quickly. And also I guess their parents are like judges, and they're in power positions in this area. And this is Mississippi. Go figure. And what's really fucked up is this reminds me of the Carmelo Anthony situation where the father, right, the bullies that were attacking Carmelo, the father's hooked up with the judge that would preside over the, there's this was at a festival, some festival, and he was found hanging. Listen, man, what's really messed up is there's footage of this kid having an argument with the white dudes. They're having an argument with them. Like, hey, you can't get back on the boat. There's an argument. It's a real quick video.
So you can flip down wherever you fucking retard. Look at that. We know. We can tell. I'm looking at you. I'll just wait. Bro, you have a life jacket. No, I'm black. You got the better conversation. Oh, yes, it does. Bro, I'll just find a way. Bro, you have a life jacket. I'm gonna die. I'm never coming back with y'all.
It's fucked up. Listen, I believe that they did it. I believe they did it. They did it. Plain and simple, they did it. What a black kid, he just went and committed suicide. They always say black kid, he committed suicide. First of all, black people don't do that like that. They don't do that. I'm not saying they don't commit suicide, but they don't do like that. They don't hang themselves up by trees. You need a group of people to do that. You understand? So I hope that this gets investigated because this is some bullshit. It's pathetic. It also reminds me of the Tamala Horsford. In 2018, she went on a slumber party or whatever, some slumber party with all white friends, and she ended up dead. And this has happened a few times. Hanging out with white people means you're going to end up dead. But check this out. All you black people that are so frantic to hang out with these white motherfuckers, do me this favor. Let's detox from hanging out with white people by ourselves. Let's detox with that. From now on, bring a group of motherfuckers. Because in case some shit goes down, motherfuckers get the beat down. So if you guys can not be so frantic to go out with your white friends, make sure you have backup, all right? Make sure it's even. If there's 3 white dudes, there's 3 black dudes. Okay? All right? Let's do that. Can we do that? Let's detox from that. I don't even go out with my wife. friends anymore. Email is from them ever. Let's detox, huh? I just want to talk a little.
The more I learn about the Nolan Wells case, the more I'm convinced that it was a Klan initiation ritual. One kid's parent is a judge, another kid's parent is a lawyer, and another kid's parent works in the jail. Happens in Mississippi on the 250th anniversary of our country, not to mention all the black people that have been found hanging from trees and the big group of white masked men marching on the Capitol. This is all Klan activity.
Well, what do you think? It seems it was an initiate. They used that boy as an initiation. She's a white woman. She knows what she goes on to talk about how she has no contact with her family, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to include that part, but she comes from a heavy Klan family. And I don't know if they're heavy or two about the Klan. And she's telling you that the more she learns about this, everything about it from her perspective sounds very much like what the Klan does when they're ready to initiate. If you remember, Los Angeles County, same thing. When they send someone out, gang along the sheriff's department to beat, literally. Here we are now. One thing I wanted to say, I've been scrolling on Facebook today, and something has been bothering me. There's been way too many black people bragging about being the only black friend in a white group and coming back alive. So they're claiming it has nothing to do with race. This is on Facebook. It's mind-boggling. But yeah, what do you guys think? White woman says it's a Klan initiation. One's a judge, one's a lawyer, and one works it. By the way, the Klan are all the top. The KKK are all the top. Like state of Florida FBI did an investigation and found out. Let me show you. I seriously tried. I can't find that specific article, but there's a bunch of articles. There's this one. There's another one. Fruitland Police Department. Somehow it has been scrubbed off the internet. Department of Police Department was actively hiring Ku Klux Klan members. Like they would go to a meeting, they would put shit. It's crazy. But anyways, what do y'all think? The number of white is mind-boggling. Yeah, how many lawyers? This is something they have specifically done on purpose. So in America that the fates of black people, those positions largely, most of them are held by members of the Ku Klux Klan. Judges, prison guards, prison officers, bankers, like positions that decide the fate of black people. And people don't realize this. Black people in comments, they saw, like they're held by their great grandfather or grandfather who was born slave. If he was born a slave, the person who owned him owned black people, their descendants are now making laws that affect the lives of those said people. There was no.
The more I learn
Can't hear it, brother.
black people, so they could unalive black people. But y'all don't think racism still exists. Over so many more white people that's good than bad. Apparently there is a Discord where it's a group of white people teaching each other how to befriend black people so they could unalive black people. But y'all don't think racism still exists. Over so many more good than bad. Apparently.
All right, so those are the three attachments. Sorry for the buffering computer, enough, of course. With that said, man, let's welcome our brother Anthony to the panel tonight. Anthony, how are you?
Hey, what's up, brother Coco? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's that drink?
Man, it's good. I got it right. Hey, hey, hold up. Here you go. I got you right here. Look.
All right. Yeah, a full cup. I like it.
Yeah, I drink mine straight too. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Straight, no rocks?
Just straight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You better than me, bro. Black Seal. Should be talking number one, the dangers of white friendship for black people. What say you to what you just saw?
Man. Let me say this. First of all, how you doing, Anthony? Good to hear from you again, brother. Couple things.
Right, peace, man.
Black people, we in danger, man. We're in danger. I do believe what she said about the boy's death was a Klan initiation ritual. But also too, I think that black people, since, over the past, from the end of the civil rights movement, the 80s and 90s, where black life became more normalized, I think we lost a lot of the pattern recognition that we used to have, right? And we understood that white people were not our friends, right? White people were potentially dangerous to our lives. And I think sometimes that we don't understand that. There was not too long ago, there's a black woman who found her hanging from a tree down in Florida on Juneteenth, right? And of course, the whole thing was about, oh, there's no foul play. She committed suicide. And there was a FBI report back in 2005, and I think they revamped it in 2020, that said law enforcement was being infiltrated by white supremacist groups, meaning that law enforcement people were actually becoming police officers with the express purpose to brutalize black people, because they understood that because the way police are viewed in our society, there would be less likely to investigate the murder. In Los Angeles County, the LA County Sheriff's Department, these were police gangs who basically had initiations. And part of their initiation would be to kill or brutalize a black person. And this was going on for years. You have an influx of white supremacists who are joining the U.S. military to get training and build connections to prepare for what they call the racial holy war, the Rahawa. If you ever, pay attention to some of these white supremacist groups, these Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Nation types. I'm sorry, my dog. These people are preparing for a combat. Hold on. Hush. They're preparing for combat. They're preparing to get ready for a situation where white people can take control, or they can kill as many non-white people as they want, right? So I think that black people have lost sight of this. So when you're in a situation where you're the only black person there, which is, first of all, you don't want to be in that situation. But I don't think we understand the danger. This young man, may he rest in peace, Nolan. His mother was, I think she was like half Filipino. His dad was black. His mom was half black and Filipino, right? I don't know what they taught him at home. I got a cousin. I got a little cousin. He's my cousin. His father is my cousin. His mother is, biracial. Her mom is white. Her dad's black. So little cuz lives with his white side of the family. And God help me, he gonna be the next person they find missing. It ain't his fault. He grew up with his mom's side of the family, and they're white. They got this boy going to rodeos and cowboy shows, and they done dyed his hair blonde. If you look at he's on the baseball team. He's the only black kid there. Every picture you see, he's the only black kid there. His white grandmother don't think he's really black. She say he's mixed, right? So he's not going to be impacted by it. And the boy is black as the ace of spades. Like you wouldn't even know his mom was half white. Anyways, I feel bad because my little cousin, he's being set up. He's being set up bad. In about 10 years, he's going to get a harsh awakening. But I think that sometimes what Dr. Chancellor Williams said in his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, he said that the great truth is that the white man is our mortal enemy. He's our eternal enemy, our implacable foe. And everything about our consciousness flows from that, right? That the white man is our enemy. And it's always funny when something like this happens, because if you don't recognize that number one point, the white man is our enemy, then we're in trouble. And there was something going around about people were bragging about, oh, I hang out with white people and nothing happened to me. Look, man, at this point, it's about triage, right? We can't save everybody. We got to recognize some people who are too far gone. And the reality is that in the United States, at least, right, the rest of the whole world, the United States is a fascist country, right? We have a rebirth. We are in a white supremacist renaissance. Not to say that there weren't white supremacists before, right? There weren't white nationalists before. But because of the climate, they become more emboldened, right? And I feel like when you walk around with your head in the sand, you're not paying attention, right? This stuff is going to happen. In no way do I mean to blame this young man for his death, right? I don't like to blame the victim. The only thing I could say is that we don't expect, when we get in situations, right? You understand, a rabid dog is going to bite you. The point of you telling a rabid dog don't bite is pointless. What you can do is protect yourself and be aware and be conscious and understand the climate that we are in. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Coco.
Yeah, I appreciated everything you had to say there. And I hope that maybe even yourself or someone else in the family can get to that kid so he doesn't have that harsh wake-up call in the future. But I really do appreciate what you had to say there. Real quick in the chat, Lord of Slaughter said MTV has coerced people into believing they are equal to the European. The matron, our matron says, we should never be the only one in a group. We wind up dead. There's no reason to be the only black amongst them. Lord of Slaughter says to the matron, I don't think we should even be over here with them anymore. 400 years and they still haven't changed. Trigger Happy, in response to something that Black Steel said it's pretty insane then that they do a lot of these things to random people in a ritualized sense. Yeah, now we getting into what their culture and mindset is. We've allowed them to bring like Black Steel was just talking about the Renaissance, to bring some shit back. They bringing back lynchings now, and saying that it's a suicide. Uh, some time ago down there by Brother Bakari, there was a kid who ran from the police like one day, and the next day he was found dead hanging in a tree. You know, like we've sat up here and allow these people to bring some shit back. And now the new thing is, well, we'll sacrifice their children. We'll just drown them. We'll just drown their people. You know, there's been a joke going on for about 50 fucking years that they can't swim. We'll just drown them, and the belief will be that they drown. We have done a bad job with this. As I mentioned him, I'll get to Anthony on this next. After this person, Brother Bakari said, Brother Bakari, how are you this week?
I'm great, man. How about you?
I'm good. I'm happy.
Everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat. You know, I didn't hear all the videos, but I get the gist and I listen to Black Steel. But you know something, Coco? It's a conversation that me and you held a few days ago. With all this go over social media, when my white friends, you just mentioned about people talking about I have white friends and they don't bother me. You got so many black people on social media when I'm with my white friends. It's like, it's as if we are trying to force white people to say they love us, right? And we want to be your friend. It's like that's what we are trying to force something that is not natural. And the things that we are doing, you know, and I don't even like Chris Rock at all. Chris Rock said black people need to stop. I've read this quote, so they say he said it, I ain't hear it. Black people have to stop screaming about racism and own the choices that we make. And that sounds harsh right now in this climate, right? But in all honesty, we have to own that choice when we say going to live around these people is safer than something like this happen. You know, not just Nolan. Most people don't even know about the black guy in Georgia that was out on July the 3rd with his friends on a boat by himself and just jumped in and they never found him. He just jumped in the lake, him and his white friends. Most people don't even know about that. And you can look it up right there in Woodstock, Georgia on July 3rd. Most people don't know because they ain't talking about it. Look at the guy from Illinois that went to Michigan with his white friends, had a mental breakdown. His white friends, he had a mental breakdown. They watched him climb a tree, watch him get a rope, put it around his neck, tie the rope to the tree and kill himself. According to them, that's how it went. That had to be how it went. He hung himself during a mental breakdown, right? And if y'all out there and y'all know this, obviously you've seen it, right? So you let all of this happen. But we got so many people on social media trying to force down your throat that my white friends, or my non-black friends, you know, we give everybody get a pass. But people will continue to do the things they do to us because they know there's nothing going to happen. The 90% of the time, they ain't going to jail. And 99% of the time, black people ain't going to do nothing but talk. One thing I did respect about what the Hebrew Israelites, IUIC, did in this case in Mississippi, they went out there and for a whole weekend, they were so loud and they had so many people with them and they were just out in front of white businesses. I got called from my people down. They shut down. They made white people shut their business down for the whole weekend. They're out in the streets. They were doing something. But man, ain't nothing gonna happen, bruh. And this is why, well, I ain't gonna even get off into that, but I know why we need a militia and why I don't like people who crapped on the militia that we had. But if don't nothing change, they know ain't nothing gonna happen. Like when Black Steel mentioned the girl in Florida that was hung for a tree. Did y'all hear her sister? I'm getting sick of people talking about race. This ain't got nothing to do with no. We just want to know what happened. We ain't even for sure race. We don't believe in race because the lady that helping us organize and find is a white woman and said her name. So y'all can stop with that racist stuff because we ain't talking about that. We just want to know what happened to her. Like, okay. So then you just have to leave it alone. On that, I yield the mic.
Brother Bakari, real quick. Whatever became of that situation with the kid who had kind of clowned the police the day before, down by you there, clowned the police the day before, and then they found him hung in the tree the next day.
Park.
Yeah.
I don't know. Remember, I went out there. They interviewed me. I was on shit. My interview actually made the TV, but I don't know. We don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Brother Bakari got into. I was actually on the phone with Brother Bakari when he went by the park, and happened to be a news team there, and they interviewed him, and he was on TV for that. That was nice. A lot of people don't know. I went to college with a guy. I was telling Brother Bakari this earlier this week. I went to college with a guy. This happened right in the heart of the pandemic when everything was locked down. Somehow this black guy of Haitian descent, he went on a boat with two white guys somewhere here in Long Island, New York. And they came back and said, well, we don't know when when he fell off the boat. And I ain't heard nothing about that since. And he was supposed to have been in some, from what I understand, he was supposed to have been in some business with these two guys, some fitness business. Yeah, they off them. They drowned him. You know. With that said, let's welcome in Icon Fire. Icon Fire, how are you this week?
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, respect to everyone. Um, so we have to blame ourselves for these situations. You feel me? We have to blame ourselves for these situations. And somebody is making us forget somebody within us, within people within our communities are making us forget our heroes, making us forget to respect them, making us forget what they tell us to do. Somebody is softening us up to white people. It's not just white people alone doing that type of stuff. People within our set are constantly moralizing white people towards us. And they make us fall in these traps all the time. Now, look, I said it a lot of times. A baby don't have ideas or theory or sins or none of these things. A baby is brand new. The baby can be turned into anything by 17 years. So it takes 17 years to actually change a generation. Well, 18 years to actually change a generation. It depends on what you teach them. But a set of people is making things recurrent in our societies where there's no cap. No, there's nothing to put a cap on our moralizing of white people and our immorality between each other, towards each other. Somebody is keeping the status quo going. And I'd have to say that, listen, it's between both genders, and I'm talking about genders, male and female. You feel me? I'm telling you that the males are trying very hard. The males, some of the females, but the males are trying very hard to keep things in balance and to put things in balance. But it's like this. We the males, we'll grab each other and put each other over a barrel. You feel me? Maybe put his winky between in a hole and whip his ass until he get it straight. But women always get away with what you call accountability. We men, we shoot each other. We do all type of drastic things to tighten each other up. But the women always get away with accountability. I think we figure that the woman always is in good character. You feel me? So they'll never get off course. So they don't need a certain type of accountability or acknowledgement. You feel me? So but and I think that's what's going on, where where we are being countered by our black woman, them thinking that it's easier to sit on white daddy's lap and to get the crumbs. You feel me? I'm just talking about the majority of them. I'm not talking about all black women. You feel me? Because a lot of black women fight um toe to toe with alongside the black man and our Pan-African Black Conscious mission, because there is nothing else for us. If anybody try anything else outside of Pan-Africanism and Black consciousness, you are practically evil towards your own black people. You feel me? You are a counter towards our upliftment as a people globally. You feel me? Where we have to say that our women, right? Our women in general go for the winner. That's how things is. Women in general is like conquered by the winner. We need to know that it's their character. You feel me? So we black men ain't win nothing. We under someone. We POWs. You feel me? It would be like just the loyalty displayed, or naturally come out of a woman. That's why she'd be loyal to us. But in general, it's the victor that really wins her. I'm telling you. You feel me? So that's why she thinks she's better off on white daddy's lap. See, everybody wants to be a fancy girl, or all women wants to be a fancy girl. I don't know if you have to know history to know that term. You feel me? So we have to understand that we need to, even though our woman is kind of going astray, we need to set up real men's organizations so we can coordinate men in to be men and to hold status in our own community. You feel me? And it has to be under the basis of Black consciousness and Pan-Africanism, or else it's futile. It's not gonna work. You feel me? If you try to go under your lodges and all that, you don't have no aim nor destiny. It would be like a white aim or a white destiny. You can't be black and you don't have a black aim and a black destiny. So that's that all I'm saying is we have to support Africa tooth and nail, and we have to make Africa become a world power So in return, it can protect us in the West. Go ahead, my people.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you mentioned as not all black women. I'm happy about that. But speaking of black women, and this is why we invite black women to join the panel weekly, because we need to balance out these ideas. So speaking of black women, this Sister Cheryl has joined us this week. Sister Cheryl, how are you?
I'm good. Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Because I'm on my on my Bluetooth is finally working. Okay. So how's everybody doing? So yeah, like yeah, dangers of white friendship. So yeah, I did put in the chat how, the parents of that got the boy that went missing on the boat when he was with all his white friends. Yeah, they did an interview with his parents. And Lord, I don't know if y'all saw that interview. It was the saddest thing. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
No,
Okay.
you're fine, girl. Between your kids and my dog, it's a rough night.
Oh my goodness. Tell it was damn dog. Got it. But yeah, so yeah, the family, oh, it was the saddest thing. There was another interview like that where they did with the parents. This was like some years ago, and the boy got shot by the police. I can't remember his name. I wish I could remember his name, but I think they went up in his house and they shot him. And I don't know, a police shot him. He wasn't even doing that. He was just sitting in his house. He wasn't even like a accessory to a crime or anything. They just had their own person or whatever. But with similar with that, they got the family, and the family was like hugging. They actually went to court, and the family was like hugging the white people, talking about they forgive them. Oh, white media loves doing stuff like that. They love parading the family, the passive family that believes in racism, but not really. Sorry.
While we wait for Sister Cheryl, make sure to hit the like button for me. Shirley, you back?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. So yeah, like white media likes to do things like that. And also another thing too, with the previous what's this guy was speaking again? Is Icon?
Icon Fire.
Icon Fire, sorry about that. Um he did what was that one? Trying to remember exactly what he said. Um damn, I lost my train of thought on, on that one. But I think um he was saying, well, he was saying like, why are people like this? Like it's we kind of gotta blame ourselves, but also you gotta remember, um, like there are some black people, especially I'm not sure anywhere, but especially like in the West that were raised by white people. And if they weren't raised by white people, they had white people in their schools, like their teachers. The majority of teachers are white women, remember, in the United States. And so when we're conditioned to when we're around them, we have more of a patience for them. And yes, Stockholm syndrome, all of that. Um, but more specifically, we tend to give them a pass, and it's because of yes, the history of slavery, but also um, because you get people that come over from the continent, they do the same thing. It's all of that. It's religion. It's all of that together. But socially, we're socialized to even if they do something bad, we'll give it a pass, or we'll say, well, not my white friends, or not my white teachers. They would never do that. But they they have a specific ideology. It doesn't matter if they're liberal or they're conservative. At the end of the day, they're white. So I mean, they're gonna do what they do. But black people have a serious mental problem. The only reason I can speak to this is because I have a family member who, until recently, like I knew my this family member was in. I have a family member in foster care, but foster care during the 60s, um, the early 60s in Philadelphia. You could imagine who's fostering these children in the heart of Philadelphia. And it never really occurred to me that my family member was adopted, was fostered by a white family. Never even occurred to me because I'm like, when I grew up and like Philly's so black, there are white parts and everything like that, but Philly is like one of the blackest cities. Like, yeah. So I never met something like that never occurred to me, but it makes so much sense for his family member. And a lot of our people, I say that to say a lot of our people have low racial self esteem. We because of that. And that's why we seek that validation from them. Because if we weren't raised by them, they were in our schools and people think white female teachers are the nicest thing. Oh, we think this white teachers. Oh, there are teachers, they would never do anything. Or and white female teachers, they're not going to be like a white male teacher. They have a whole different approach. Like they'll be nice and they think, oh, you can talk to them. They're nice and uh, you don't know white women. Like if you have not lived with them, you don't know them. Like unfortunately, I've had to live with them, so I know their habits. I know their behaviors. I know how they act. They're different. They are different. They're very, very different. And you think that they are the okay ones because they're cordial. No, no, no. That's not how they work. So I mean, it takes a hard thumping on the head for us to figure this out. And even then, it's still not gonna. It's still doesn't do anything for us. That's why I say, for me, America is like a dead. It's like a. It's done. Like you either conscious or you're not. It's, for me, it's just there's nothing that you can really build in America. There's nothing you can do here. Like the conscious community can do something. You can like a lot of people can't just get up and leave, but as a whole, we should be making our exodus. Like I'm not saying like we have to do it in this generation, but we should be encouraging our children to get up and go and seek out other places. Get passports for other places in other black countries because this isn't it. You can't like for all the black people that think they're gonna have, they're gonna buy their house in America and everything's just gonna be honky dory, everything's gonna be great for the next 50, 60, 70 years. It's not. It's not gonna be great. It's it's all like literally after the 60s, it's all downhill. A lot of black people don't feel like that or realize that because maybe they have their house and they have their good job and their pension and whatever. But your generations are going to suffer here. They're going to it's going to be a rude awakening for America in the next 50, 60 years, the next couple generations. It's not it's not good. We should be in a black country. We should be somewhere where I'm not just saying get up and go anywhere. I'm just saying go somewhere where there is where you see where there's a group of a black country where you know that you can find like-minded people because America is not it, and this whole thing is it's just it happens every year. Like every year, black people get this amnesia, like it never happened. Like it be happening every year, especially in the South. So I don't know. I just leave it there.
Appreciate that, Sister Cheryl. Yeah, I told my children I want their grandchildren, so my great grandchildren, I want them to be out of this country and in a black nation by that time. I think that's a message we should try to foster more too. Incremental, bit by bit, but by a certain generation, let's be others. Uh, Let's be out of these people's control, In the chat, a lot of Slaughter mentions the old Rodney King interview while Sister Cheryl was speaking. And he quotes, "Can we all just get along?" And the answer is no. Black Steel in the chat said, "Look at who was sleeping with the youth, white women." Black Steel, what you wanted to expound a little bit before I throw it to Brother Anthony?
The majority, like if you look at the child sexual stuff, the women sleeping with kids, it's just a lot of them is white women, right? A lot of them is white women. There's a lot of oversight on the coaches and whatnot, but a lot of times it's being white women sleeping with them kids, and they don't even call it grape anymore. There was a white woman. She was pretty famous. She said she was too pretty to go to jail. She was messing with his kid for years. This is middle school. It happens all the time. These white women be up sleeping with these teenage boys, and it's a big thing. It's a big thing. So it's not rare. Cheryl's her point about low racial esteem, that's very true. Many black people instinctively think that white people got it better. They think they just, by virtue of them being white, their neighborhoods are better, relationships with white people is better. You hear white women, black women saying, "Give me a white man." You hear black men say, "I'm gonna give me a white woman." It's just the whole idea that white is right. And if you go, the closer you are to white, the closer and the safer you'll be. White people neighborhoods ain't as violent as black people neighborhoods, quote unquote. White people have better stores. It's all type of nonsense. But there's a lot of people who really believe that white is better. And so they're going to cling to an all-white friend group because white people are just better. No matter what type of negative reinforcement they receive from these white people, they're not going to change. They're not going to change. Another thing too, I hear y'all talking about repatriation, man. For individuals, that might be a good idea. If you want to move your individual family to Africa, Ghana, the Caribbean, whatever, that's fine. I'm not against that. But what bothers me when we start thinking that 50 million black people in the United States can up and leave, even if it took, first of all, logistically, how are we going to get there? The ships, airplanes, boats, submarines that would be necessary to move that many people. You're talking about an endeavor that would probably take centuries. And then you have to remember, black people are being born every minute in this country. This plan was floated in the Civil War, actually. Towards the end of the Civil War, when Lincoln realized the Union was going to win, he wanted to come up with a plan to remove all 4 million black people from the United States, send them either to Haiti, Cuba, or send someplace in Central America or Liberia. And they realized that as fast as they remove black people from this country, there will be more born. There's not a logistical standpoint that black people can be removed from this country. However, I will say this. It's not necessary to remove it from this country because where goes Africa, goes the race. Once Africa is built up, once Africa becomes a global world power, African people everywhere will be respected. Okay, you can see it, and I say this from studying history. You can look at what happened in China. Okay, look at China. China was called the sick man of Asia. China went through multiple invasions by the Chinese and civil wars. They built their country. Now, Chinese people are protected no matter where they go because they know that China has the economic, political, and military strength to defend their people anywhere in the world. If you want to move back to Africa, that's fine. 50 million people, black people in America. That's not going to happen. Most of us are poor. You can't afford visas, passports, and when you get over there, you got to find a place to live and have another language. No, build up the continent. I'm not encouraging black people to be sitting ducks because I said build up the continent. The continent has to be built up and has to be able to exert pressure on our oppressors. Right now, nobody takes Africa seriously. Look at what's going on with them black women that go to Dubai and are maids from Kenya and Tanzania. They treat them women like garbage and send them back. They don't treat the Chinese people like that. They don't treat them like that because they know that they have the power to do something about it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. A lot of Saul in the chat said not 50 million. He says, I have constantly said people are lost and y'all not hearing me. Trigger Happy says, well, someone's mic is open. Yeah, Trigger Happy says, well, better start thinking about New Africa. Either way, I think repatriation usually is framed for those who can do it, and it should be organized for those who can go. The rest could be that of New Africa. Every solution we are posing is also not immediately realistic. Even New Africa is not realistic. So I don't mind people posing the solution. He says, if not those solutions, whether you like it or not, you are encouraging Black America to be sitting ducks. He says, you need people of the diaspora to help build the continent, LOL. I know Brother Anthony has been patiently waiting for his turn, but Anthony, I want you to hear everything everyone else had to say, and now I'd like you to give your thoughts on the topic at hand.
Okay, all right. Yeah, man, that was I had my auntie that came and brought me some stuff. I had to go ahead and holler at her real quick. But I think that, well, first of all, I want to say, like, to the brother Black Steel, I don't think that most Black people even thinking about going to Africa. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me personally, that's something that I would love to do, but I don't think the majority of people, thinking of that as an option anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I heard what you said about that. I can understand. You make a lot of sense of that, but like, I don't think that most Black people are thinking about that. And even if we was going, a repatriation was a real thing to us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are other options too besides the continent. Because if I looked at this here in 1980, I think around 1980 to 83, there were about 8 to 10 million Mexican people in the United States. Today, they're over 55 million. You know what I'm saying? And that didn't take centuries. That was just about 35, 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, people can move around, to different places and everything. Not that I think Black people want to do it because, we too tied here to this country. You think this home. And, and another thing that I heard, me, I always thought about the whole New Africa thing too, but in a real way. You know what I'm saying? In a real way, not just this ideological kind of thing that they have, the Republic of New Africa, and all of the stuff that we know about the Republic of New Africa. But I mean, there are places like Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, places that have 35, nearly 40% Black population. If Black people move back to these places, we could become a majority in those places. You know what I'm saying? They have some kind of political power. You know what I'm saying? And that could actually even lead to maybe self-determination one day. You never know, man. No, we don't know how this country gonna be, because to me, this country is on the brink of a splintering anyway. When you really think about it. But to the prompt though, to the subject of the prompt, I think that it goes to our consciousness as Black people, in America and around the world, man, that or our lack of consciousness. Because if we had consciousness, we know that what we need to do is organize. We need to organize. I like what the brother said about the brothers in the purple. How they was. I was looking at a video of them the other day doing some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we think about them brothers in the purple, one thing they do, they hit them damn streets, and they ain't scared. They doing it. You know what I'm saying? Whether you agree with the ideology or what. But I think that we as Black people, we're not organized enough. You know what I'm saying? We could stop all of this shit. With our brothers and sisters getting killed and hung in trees and everything. But we scared. That's one thing, we scared. We scared because we believe that ideology that we have, that the white man and the white woman is this and that, and God and everything, you know, godly, God's people, whatever, all of the stuff, you know, that our mind think about them. We scared to kill the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? They could kill you all day and we'll go protest. We'll go and march and we'll do this and do that and talk about this and that. And you know what? And it'll be on to the next one, to the next brother and sister get hung in a tree somewhere. You know, we're going to run our mouth. We ain't going to do shit. Instead of getting some guns and going out doing some regulating. You know, they say, oh, that's easy. Well, okay, yeah. Well, you know what? It's easy for you to do what you're doing too, which is nothing. Not doing a goddamn thing. You know, because we scared. We scared. We scared of that God. We scared of the white God, the great white God. You know what I'm saying? Manifested in the white man, white woman. So we can't do none of them. They can do shit to us, but we ain't gonna do nothing back to them because them God people. You know, that's in our mind. I ain't getting on no spooked out stuff, no religious thing, but that's in our mind. It's embedded in our mind. The whole mental side thing. You know what I'm saying? We just worship them. We worship them. We want to be next to them. What Brother Malcolm said, the Negro said, I'm the only Negro around here. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got killed by your white friends. And every time you look around, a brother on a ski boat and, you know, and somewhere here and everything. Look, man, I live right here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I got, you know, this is a 50% plus black city. I have Negroes that I don't want to go fool with. You know what I'm saying? It's some of my partners who got friends who I know that kill people and do all kind of crazy shit. I don't want to go nowhere with them. You know what I'm saying? Let alone getting on the goddamn boat or going on some hunting expedition or whatever. What's up with a bunch of white folks? Look here. We believe that the only enemy in this country to black people is the one that's in the mirror. And in a way it is. Because our mind. You know what I'm saying? And which takes us off of the real enemy. Ever since this country been in existence, black men, women, and children, we done been the target forever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you came to after say let's go after our enslavement in this country, and now we free people and citizens and everything. And you get into later periods like the Cold War where America had to act like it's the beacon of liberty and everything, because you know we can't be the center of democracy and freedom in the world, but still treating black people bad. So they try to clean it up a little bit. And the reason why I'm saying that is to my brother Black Steel. This not no a bunch of these white nationalists or all these people like infiltrating the police, the military. They always there anyway. They've been there. You know, the United States Army has always been a white nationalist force. The police has always been there. Your black ass always been the target. As always, you know, they put a little cosmetic facelift on it and everything. They're like, hey, we'll even give y'all a black president. See, we ain't racist no more. It ain't like that no more. Black people ain't suffering no more. You know, white folks loosen up to get a tighter grip. You know what I'm saying? So now when you see all this happening, it's been happening. Ask Brother Bakari. I remember about 10, 15 years ago in Mississippi. It was a jail in Mississippi. It may have been in Jackson. Well, about over a period of like 3 years, 30 or 40 brothers got hung in the jail. You know what I'm saying? We talking about suicide. They say it was suicide. 30 or 40 brothers killed themselves. Come on, man. You know we don't do that. One or two is, yeah. But this been happening. Black brothers and sisters been disappearing all over the place. It didn't just start. You know, somebody decided to make a political thing out of it now. But this been going on. It's never been a time where it didn't go on. We've been getting shot, you know, on the roadside by the police, hung, found somewhere, you know, in a ditch, you know, and stuff like that. This been happening, man. It ain't never stopped happening. It's just, you know, you got politics, Democratic, Republican, all that. The people like use things for political footballs and shit like that. But like black people, we really just got to come to the reality that, look, these not your friends. These people don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about you. The only reason why they tolerate you now, because you can contribute to their economy. You know what I'm saying? The black dollar, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason you ran now, because you're useful. Because what did they do? What Dr. Rice said, what did they do to a people who are no longer useful? Man, that's genocide. Hey, we don't need them no more. Yeah, we got Mexicans, we got everybody else coming over. We don't need them no more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we gotta think as a nation, you know, as a nation of people, black people, as African people, we got to move together. You know what I'm saying? When you go to the store, Don't go by yourself. When you going wherever, don't go by yourself. Sisters, y'all take some protection with you. You know what I'm saying? Don't mall by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't let no police or nobody, no white people put you in cars and all of those shit there. If you're gonna die anyway, you might as well go and take a couple of them with you. I'm saying that's the mindset that we have to have. Well, if it's my day, it's gonna be your day too. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that mindset, because guess what? You know what? Koku, I'll shoot your motherfucking black ass. You'll shoot my motherfucking black ass. But we won't do shit to them. We're gonna put our hands up, we're gonna march, no hands up, don't shoot, and all that, because we scared. We some punks. We some punks. Not all of us. I mean, you gonna always have a couple of men and women who say, fuck it, the day is a good day to die. But for the most part, for us moving as a team and being together, we some scary motherfuckers, man. No, we don't want to lose our little position, our little job, or whatever. No, man, I don't want to get in no trouble, man. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. No, we just scared. And we got to quit being scared. And once we stop being scared, guess what? That's when the respect started coming. The respect meaning, no, that's the wrong Negro to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? Look what our brothers in the Sahel did. They said, enough of this shit. Y'all done exploited us forever. Y'all did all kind of shit for us forever. You know what? Man, fuck y'all. Hey, get out of my country. Get on away from me. We finna do our own thing. We finna do our own thing. Fuck y'all. And what happened? What they doing now? Well, the friend saying, oh, we better leave that Negro alone. We finna go to Kenya somewhere now. We got to go somewhere else. My bottom line, what I'm saying, we just got to stand the fuck up. You know, and be men and women. Be powerful black men and women. We will, because it's in us. But we just scared to do it. And we got to get that damn white man, that God out our spirit, out our mind. You know, when I say God, like I say, I ain't talking about no spook that shit. But I'm talking about just that whole, what they call, I don't say white supremacy, because, you know, he ain't supreme to nothing. But I'm saying that white superiority mentality that they put in our brain to make us think, well, we can't even go nowhere else. We might as well stay here. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I'll leave it right there, man.
I appreciate that, Anthony. Really quick, it's not a topic tonight. I'm just gonna mention it real quick because Anthony touched on something that made me remember. So a guy on Twitter earlier this week said something about how Boosie, the rapper Boosie, was out here getting black men deleted for less than 1,000, but won't put 10K on them white boys' head who robbed him. Yeah, these N-words are pussy. That's what the person, Don Snow, tweeted. And I retweeted it and I said, look at all the fuckers in the mention justifying black on black. There's a bunch of people in the comments who are justifying, well, you know, you really can't get at them white folks like that. That's a whole different ball game, but it's easier to get to another black. I'm like, look at all these fuckers justifying black on black violence, but absolutely not black on white violence. We are scared, but we're not scared of one another. That's a big problem that we have. Let's welcome in our brother. I haven't talked to you in a while, Brother Kofi. How are you this week? Kofi, if you're there, you're muted. All right, maybe Kofi stepped away or something of that nature. But a lot of thought in the chat says leaving them is the solution, right? I think I'll let that be the last word from the chat on this topic. Does anyone have any last thoughts on this particular prompt?
I think I might have.
Yeah, Kofi, I called on you like a minute ago.
Oh, my fault. I mean, I know you want to end this topic right now, but I love playing devil's advocate here. I agree with what everyone is pretty much saying about, you know, our relationship when it comes to white people in this country and all throughout the world. But let's stick with United States of America right now. Are we saying, I ask this question to the whole panel, are we saying all white people are bad and evil and we cannot be friends with any white people when we know there are factually in history a small amount of good white people. Like the Railroad wouldn't exist. It wasn't for white people. They had white people putting their lives on the line during the civil rights era that died with black people during that time. So my question to the panel: are we saying all white people are bad? And now, when it comes to the brother on the boat
Yes.
and things like that,
Yes.
I don't think that brother had. Again, I think it's kids gonna do what kids want to do. But I teach my kids because my kids have all types of friends. If I see them hanging with a particular demographic of kids that are not really black, they be good people and everything. I let them know that how those people, maybe not them, but the majority how those people see black people as a whole. So maybe that's a failure on his parents with the Nolan kid. But basically, my question is: are we saying all white people are evil? Pretty much.
So
Yes.
Kofi, I
Yes.
feel like you opened up a.
Can I answer that
Oh,
question?
please let me answer
Can I
that.
answer?
Let me speak first, and I'm not gonna take long, right? I'm gonna
Yeah.
speak
Why we can't speak first?
because I was speaking first. I'll be rude. Kofi, I feel like you opened up a can of worms with that topic, man. Are all white people bad? Absolutely not. But all snakes ain't poisonous either, right? All white people aren't bad the same way.
Shout out to college.
Ain't poisonous. All right. I'm not gonna turn my back on any snake. I don't care if it's a garter snake, it could be an anaconda, it's a king cobra. It's the same way for white people. White people have behaved in such a way that they do not get the benefit of the doubt anymore. So no, all white people ain't bad. But at this point, we live in a dangerous world, and we got to side eye them all. Eventually, maybe they'll prove themselves to be right. But again, all white people, all snakes ain't poison either. I'm watching you either way. Keep my eye on you.
I agree with
That's
that.
that's
I
that's
agree
that's a
with
good
that.
answer. I agree with that answer. I agree with that
Can I
answer totally. Go
But
ahead.
can I just say one quick? Oh,
it's been so many bad.
Let the woman speak.
oh, I was gonna let him speak. It's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I ain't here.
No, you get the woman get priorities. It's you alone.
Who the hell is that talking?
Let the woman speak. Why you want to talk in front of the lady? Go
Put your
ahead,
phone on
sweetie.
mute, man. God damn.
Go ahead,
Go
Sister Cheryl.
ahead,
Go ahead.
nice lady.
Cheryl and
Okay.
then McCarthy. Go ahead.
So I love when people ask this because like I had to really learn how to refine how I respond to people who say things like that. And the best thing I could come up with is, it's not really good to frame things in terms of good and bad because it starts to sound like, oh, oh, they were mean to me. Like it sounds like we're on the playground or something. They're mean to me, so I'm not going to be their friend. But if they're nice to me, I'll be their friend. Like we still on the playground with this topic. And the best thing I could tell people who say things like that is that at the end of the day, when Chad grows up and he inherits his father's business or he inherits his father's house or whatever he does, you two become two completely different people. Like you're it's not the same as when you were kids. And we I feel like as adults, as black people, we're still stuck on the playground when it comes to analyzing people that are not us. And we still frame as adults, we start to frame things as good and bad, as if we were on the playground. But now it becomes more political because at the end of the day, white people have values and things that they want to protect. And they will do so by any means necessary. And they don't even have to tell you at the end of the day. So it's not about good or bad. And also, when a white person, okay, when a white person is choosing you, because that's what happens, they choose you as their friend. When they choose you as their friend, they're choosing you because they know you have low racial self-esteem. They know you have integrationist mindset, and they want you to be around because it makes them feel good about themselves. So it's not about good or bad. It's control. who has the control in that relationship? Because a friendship is a type of relationship. So whether you realize it or not, the white person decides if you're going to be in, allowed to be in the friend circle and thing like that, regardless of if they let you over their parents. Well, my white friend lets me come over their house, so they're a good white person. My friend, I talk to them about everything, and that's great. It's wonderful. But at the end of the day, they have they have to say so, not you, because you don't even see race. You don't see anything. They see race first. You see everybody is just a color. There is no color. I see no color. I see no race, right? They see color. Every last one of them see color. They have the control over that relationship. And so they can dictate what types of black people are allowed they talk to. What type of black people, if they want to feel cool one day, maybe they'll have these black friends. It makes them feel good about themselves. Maybe you make them laugh. You make them do, it's like that. But it's never it's transactional for them. So it's not about they're being mean, okay? Because they know deep down, like you're not gonna go and only support black businesses. They know that. You're not going to go and say, I'm only going to date black women, or I'm only going to date black men. They know you're not going to do that. And that's exactly why when white people choose friends, especially white women, they love to choose black women that have that I can do bad all by myself mindset. They love to choose black women that are not confident about themselves, who are into feminism, who are into LGBT. They love black women like that because it makes them feel good. You go along with their way of life. So always remember that. So it's not about good or bad. It's control.
I would just like to respond to that. So this is my question. I totally agree with that. The only thing I would have to say with that is that I don't think I framed it as people on the playground because I use historical context. I use life and death, as well as white people, the minority of white people that gave their lives. So I didn't do that. And two, you are right. You may have a father, and I've seen this with my own eyes. I've witnessed this because there is intersectionality in our society between black and white people. I've personally known white people that are family members and friends that will tell you that my mother's racist, father's racist, my family is racist. And if you were to deal with them just a friendly basis and you talk real to them, they're just not heads. Yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm not trying to downplay how evil white people are as a group. And again, I agree with what Black Steel said. I'm not going to turn my back on a snake, no matter what it is. But we have to keep in mind everything is not that, black and white, pun intended. But I for the most part, Cheryl, I definitely agree with you.
Bakari?
Okay, what I want to say is, I know Kofi say he playing devil's advocate, but one thing, whenever we talking about what's going on, we gonna find one of us who want to know, can we figure out which one of the white people is good or bad? And I understand the historical context. I'm gonna tell you something I learned. Right, I'm gonna start with my pops. It was this white guy that used to march and do all of that. Black people deserve the right to vote, and he got to know my pops. And they was on the same job, right? So them white folks at that job knew what they were doing. So they were making my dad the supervisor. So they wanted the black folks that followed my daddy to turn on him. Because, the supervisor gonna make you do all the work. And wanted to create problem with him and the white dude. And my daddy understood this. So my dad turned the job down. Now, I'm getting this story from my pops. He said this when he knew he would never have a white friend. Because before he got a chance to tell that white dude, the same white dude that out there marching, the same white dude that out there talking about black folks deserve rights, he said before he got a chance to tell the dude he turned the job down, he told my daddy, congratulations, but ain't no black man smart enough to be my boss, so I quit. My daddy didn't even take the job, but didn't even get a chance to tell him. So then we can go back a little further and we can talk about those Quakers, because that's who most of the people on the Underground Railroad were. If we truly study the Underground Railroad, and what made me study it, I was looking at this old movie, Halle Berry Queen, something like that, and when they had got away or whatever, and she was staying with some people who, I guess, with the Underground Railroad, and she had to ask for permission to do everything. And they asked them, I thought you said y'all didn't treat them like everybody else. Well, they can't think for themselves, right? So therefore, it's better to be with us telling her, we can tell her who she can marry and who she can't, so on and so forth, than being enslaved. So the thing is, when you study it, if you truly, truly dig into the Underground Railroad, it was way more black people that started. It was way more black people that was in the Underground Railroad. And look and see how many white people who was in that Underground Railroad would keep black people that they could use and let others go. And they would hold the other ones like in servitude, right? Until they didn't need them no more. So is that saying all white people is bad? Some of them is in purgatory. Majority of them is bad. But I ain't going to try to look past and say, oh, this is one might be good. This one might be good. Why? If I meet somebody and they're okay, like a dude at work, he's okay at work, but he's a white dude. He can't come to my house because I don't let nobody that ain't black come to my house so that we can be friends. And I think that's something black people, something like going back to the point when I said when me and Koku talked about earlier. I think that is some black people feel they have to force. We are friends with everybody. We are friends with everybody. So I got this friend, I got this friend, I got this friend. But probably the only real friend that you truly have 98.75% of the time is going to be the black person. Those other people, they are good associates. And when the shit hit the fan, this just, how I see, they're going to be who they are. So when we're talking about what they have done, trying to figure out if there's some good or the other ones that's not good, are they in purgatory or are they bad, right? It doesn't, we still talking about at the end of the day, we were talking about lynchings. It was white folks that did those lynchings. We don't know which ones did it. They all look alike. It was white folks that burned this black dude house down in Long Island in the early 2000s because his family was the only Negro out there. Whatever area they were living in Long Island, his family was the only black family out there, and the house was burned to the ground. It was white folks. So I don't know if they were trying to figure out, well, I don't know which one is bad and which one is good. The bad ones burned my house down. Y'all good. I don't know. On that, I yield the mic.
Appreciate that. Thanks for that devil's advocate question, Kofi, so we can get some kind of understanding on that. If there's no last words, man, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number two tonight. Let me grab it real quick. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 says, when is it okay for black people to defend themselves? When is it okay for black people to defend themselves? This comes with an attachment that's going to take us to Instagram. Let me share my screen. Nope, that's not it. All right, so you guys should be able to see my screen. Hold on a second. Browser lost audio. Got to do it again. If you haven't hit the like button in the meantime, hit that like button. Share the show on your social media. Okay, here we go. So this time you should have it now. So again, Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. When is it okay for black people to defend themselves? Let's watch this video and then we'll discuss
and then successfully used stand your ground to avoid prison time. That's the backdrop of where this incident took place, okay? So back in June 2025, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts were just hanging out with their friends in their Baker County neighborhood when a group of white males, one of them carrying a shotgun, another with a rifle, walked up on them from a nearby intersection. Now, witnesses say that Devin Powers Jr. raised the shotgun and fired at the group where kids were playing outside. Now, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts grabbed their own weapons and they shot back. Devin Powers later died. Now, after the incident, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts, they didn't chase anybody. The police were called and they cooperated fully, but they didn't get a self-defense pass. A few months later, a Baker County grand jury indicted them on first-degree premeditated murder. They also face aggravated battery, 3 counts of shooting into an occupied dwelling, and discharging a firearm in public. Now, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts tried to use Florida Stand Your Ground law to get immunity. Sadly, a judge shut it down. In her reasoning, she said they had every right to fire back when Powers first shot at them, but once Powers started retreating, that right dissolved. I guess it doesn't matter that Devin Powers was still holding his shotgun when he got hit. Now, I spoke with Sissy Jones, who is fighting to get justice for Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts, and they said, quote, the Baker County Sheriff's Office, the state attorney's office, and the judge know that Jamarian and Travis were justified in their actions. 2 armed men approached them and created a well-founded fear in everyone that day, and they responded like heroes. To charge them both with premeditated murder when those 2 men remained armed is purely evil, end quote. Now, Sissy, like others, are just having an issue with what appears to be a 2-tier justice system. Stand your ground is pretty clear. If someone shoots at you, don't you have a right to defend yourself? Now, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts are sitting in jail waiting for trial, all for the crime of protecting their neighbors from an armed individual. This is Monique with the Black Belt Daily, signing out. Several armed white men fired at a crowd full of black people, all while children were playing outside. 2 black men from that crowd returned fire. A Florida judge just denied their stand your ground defense, and they're facing first-degree murder charges. Let's get into it. So before we get started, let me just paint a picture of where this incident took place. We in Baker County, babes, a place where you can walk into the county courthouse and see a mural that shows Ku Klux Klan members glorified as heroes on horseback. A county where the white son of a retired deputy killed DJ Broadus, an unarmed black man, and then successfully used stand your ground to avoid prison time. That's the backdrop of where this incident took place, okay? So back in June 2025, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts were just hanging out with their friends in their Baker County neighborhood when a group of white males, one of them carrying a shotgun, another with a rifle, walked up on them from a nearby intersection. Now, witnesses say that Devin Powers Jr. raised the shotgun and fired at the group where kids were playing outside. Now, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts grabbed their own weapons and they shot back. Devin Powers later died. Now, after the incident, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts, they chase anybody. The police called and they cooperated fully. They didn't get a self-defense. A few later, a Baker County grand jury indicted them on first-degree premeditated. They also face aggravated battery, shooting into an occupied dwelling, and discharging a firearm in public. Now, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts tried to use Florida Stand Your Ground law to get immunity. Sadly, a judge shut it down. In her reasoning, she said every right to fire back power shot. Once Powers had retreated, that right dissolved. I guess it doesn't matter that Devin Powers was still holding his shotgun when he got hit. Now, I spoke with Sissy Jones, who is fighting to get justice for Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts, and they said, quote, the Baker County Sheriff's Office, the state attorney's office, and the judge know that Jamarian and Travis were justified in their actions. 2 armed men approached them and created a well-founded fear in everyone that day, and they responded like heroes. To charge them both with premeditated murder when those 2 men remained armed is purely evil, end quote. Now, Sissy, like others, are just having an issue with what appears to be a 2-tier justice system. Stand your ground is pretty clear. If someone shoots at you, don't you have a right to defend yourself? Now, Jamarian Byrd and Travis Roberts are sitting in jail waiting for trial, all for the crime of protecting their neighbors from an armed individual. This is Monique with the Black Belt Daily, signing out.
Okay, so I hope everyone was able to get a idea of the scenario. That's interesting. Someone here, the notorious BJ, says this is the same quote unquote stand your ground law that allowed Zimmerman to get away with actual murder. Also, I could have sworn premeditation requires planning and intention. Someone else says they can't deny us guns, so they are denying us the access to the laws that protect the use of them. I like that comment. That's a good comment. John the Don says we need the name of the prosecutor and the DA's office. Florida lawmakers and judiciary need to be investigated. How can the same state that justified the killing of Trayvon Martin, as he had no weapons, no criminal record, and was in the neighborhood of his father when he got murdered by George Zimmerman, who took it upon himself to pursue, initiate conflict, and then just claim self-defense? You're telling us that this state, they allow all of this to happen, and a teenage black will get murdered in cold blood, but they want to try to railroad these two fathers for saving their family members, including their kids? This should spark national outrage, because all of these conversations of good guys with guns being the reason why America should continue to sell guns. It was just laughable when you look at a case like this, or they want to try to hold these men accountable for ending a threat to their lineage. This white fire at an entire family. That is more than just threatening someone's life. That is threatening someone's lineage. I'll leave it there with the comments from them. The caption of this video, by the way, says, after gunfire broke out in the neighborhood, 2 black men who returned fire are now being charged with first-degree murder, raising serious questions about how self-defense laws are applied in real situations. With that said, let me throw it to the panel. Let me start with Kofi, the black critic. Kofi, what say you to what you just heard?
I really don't know what to say. I'm kind of like speechless, but I'm not surprised. It I don't know what to say. This is insane. This is blatant, and the fact that I have not heard about this is troubling. It shows that shows like this, like what you have right here, is very beneficial, and we need in the black community, because I have not heard of this. Because I think if this really got national attention, then the bad white people and the white people that's in purgatory, and along with everybody else, will shine a spotlight in Florida, and it's going to make them look really bad with all the points that everyone just brought up. Like I said, Florida is a red state. It's been a red state pretty much forever. It's not even purple. I mean, with them being in the system right now, I don't know if they need to get. I don't know what the criminal defense attorney is. I just think that we need as a community, as a black community, is see what their legal defense team is, and what's representing them, because that is a total mistrial. Now, that's the first thing that came to mind. One of those comments that you read was like, the charges alone is is ridiculous. Premeditated murder. So they planned all that. They planned to be at that particular intersection where these white clan Neanderthals to come to do that, just so they just have a shootout in an intersection. That's what the defense will have to prove, which they can't prove. So that's going to get thrown out. Like, these charges should be a total mistrial. It should be a total mistrial. But again, it depends on their defense team, because I would be going to the DA saying this shit needs to be thrown out. What you doing? This is ridiculous. Because at the end of the day, if this happens, I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna take it to the Supreme Court. I'm just gonna take it to a higher court, because there's no way this should fly. These charges should not stick. Like, I don't know. I'm just interested to see what everyone else is gonna say. But again, they're in the system. All I can say is that what's their defense team? It shouldn't take a Gene's defense team to have this case thrown out. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, recently though, we've been seeing some defense teams that couldn't hit the side of a bond properly when it comes to black folks and getting them off some shit. I forgot to mention this in the last topic, but it kind of came up again in this topic. KW Don 7 gave me a super chat. In the last topic, shout out to KW Don 7. He says, I don't have time to filter out good white people. Besides, they will revert to save them. Sorry, they will revert to save when it's all said and done. So shout out to KW Don 7. Thank you for the $5 holler, as they say. Also shout out to Daily Affirmations by Pauline, who joined us earlier, as well as Brother Everett, who joined us as well, who says race first family, Brother Everett. So shout out to them for being here. Back to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. When is it okay for black people to defend themselves? Sister Cheryl, what ideas, what thoughts do you have? Is Cheryl here? I see Cheryl in the chat. Is Cheryl up here? If you are, you're muted. Okay, maybe Cheryl's not available right now. Let's go to Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, what say you?
You damn right you had a right to defend yourself. Gerard Williams in 2015 in Miami, Florida, shot and killed a white guy for trying to attack him in Waffle House. He got off. I was looking for the guy in Nashville, Tennessee that killed a white guy pranking like he was going to do something to him. And he shot him in the chest and killed him. And he got off. Is the law against us? Yeah. But you had a right to damn defend yourself. You had a right to damn defend yourself. And as long as people thinking you don't have the right to defend yourself because they going to do this and they going to do that, they going to keep doing what they do to you. You had a right to defend yourself. And guess what? And if more of us start to defend ourselves, the shit we complain about the courts won't do, guess what? The people that's doing stuff to you will stop doing it because they understand there's consequences that come with it. So you had a right to always stand your ground and defend your damn self. And I don't even want to be with nobody talking about, man, we can't defend ourselves because, man, some shit hop off with them folks and y'all worry about what's going to happen because you can't defend yourself. Shit, you're going to have a problem with me too. I'm just going to be honest with you. So you had a right to defend yourself, period, point blank. Sometimes, as a matter of fact, if you're talking about you're a real revolutionary, sometimes you just got to say fuck their law anyway. Pardon my friend. You got to say the hell with their law, the hell with what they're going to say. It's either him or her or me. It's one of them or me. Rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. You had a damn right to defend yourself. I get it, Mike.
I wonder when this happened. Maybe this is revenge. I mean, I think I don't know what's going on. It's still ongoing case. I don't know if you guys, I think it was like a week or so ago, there was a black woman in the Walmart parking lot and the white guy kept harassing her. She pulled her gun out and he just kept harassing her and killed him dead on the spot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know when this happened. Maybe this is retribution for the black woman defending herself. And there's videotape of it. So, there's no denying that. So I just wonder how old this case is.
I want to say they said 2023, but I could be tripping. I believe it was in 2023. So is Sister Cheryl back? I see you in the chat, but I don't hear you on the panel. I guess not. So let's go to Icon 5. Icon, what say you?
Yes. How I see this thing, I can only approach it on a global level. You feel me? Only on a global level. This is how I would approach it. White people is the custodian of America. Everybody's under white people. So what I mean is they own a whole military complex industry. You feel me? So yes, we should stand up for ourselves inside America and fight for ourselves but actually it, it, it's still you're still depending on them for your life because they can actually practically wipe you out if they want, right? All right, okay, okay. But this is what I'm saying. White America understands a lot. So we actually taking them real simple. We actually underestimating white people. And I'm telling our black people not to underestimate our enemies. They enslave us for 500 years. You think they stupid? You feel me? So what I'm trying to say is look how they invented ADOS and and um and FBA. What was the motive? They have a motive. They wanted to let African American burn their bridges. The bridges that have been built, they want you to burn it. You feel me? So so it's like they want the Caribbean not to care when you are dying. It's the same thing in South Africa. White people is doing this. They don't want the Caribbean to care when you are dying. They don't want the Africans to care when you are dying. That's why they make the African Americans spew so much venom. They think it's harmless, but it's very harmful because you don't know what white people have is setting up for you. You there making enemies with your family. And these white people is be like, yeah, nigga. Because when we get you, we gon' when they gonna see us torturing you and don't say nothing. And I don't like that because white people can only get hurt if you put them in the grave or affect their pocket. Those are the only two ways you can affect white people. You feel me? And and
Fact.
and Africa can affect white people. Africa can sanction white people. It can. You feel me? And white people know that. But we don't know that because you know we are more attracted to hate more than understanding our association and how powerful our association is or can be. You feel me? So I think that that's what's going on where white people are understand that they have created a hatred of apparatus, practically a disconnected. I mean, these things are they even go as far as to say we are disconnecting the lineage called the delineation. They even go as far to say we're disconnecting the lineage. I mean, like the audacity and the along with from caucasity. It all came from there. You feel me? We don't understand what's going on. How can you cut off your blood? We don't understand what's going on. And same thing with South Africa. South Africa is making the black people chase away the blacks so they can, when they are ready to put gunshot on you, a lot of Africans will be happy. Yeah, a lot of Africans gonna be like, yeah, you fucker, you. You feel me? You didn't know that's what gonna go on. You understand? And it's just a tragedy how we behave and we need protection. We need security apparatus, and we need to do a global black security apparatus where anyone get hurt, all get hurt. You feel me? And all defend the one that's hurt. That type of stuff we need to do, because only if you can say, okay, because America has a whole bunch of mining companies all over Africa and a whole bunch of different companies all over Africa. If you can affect these, they can their internal policy can be changed. You feel me? And there is where on a broad level the white society will understand that you can't hurt these people because it will affect you financially. It will affect your industries. And the little we can do, I think that's what we should do. Like associate ourselves so that the world of blacks will understand that we have to defend each other. And that's what I have to say, because I don't know what to say about the internal part, because you can't defend yourself against these people. Of course you can do your thing. But if they say, okay, we come, and of course it's good to take out one, especially if you know you're gonna go. Of course it's better to take one with you or some with you. I agree with all that stuff. You feel me? But they just gonna pull off some type of revenge type of thing, and a lot of us gonna get hurt more. It's just a tricky thing. And I say that doing it on a global scale, because some of it is we getting ourselves too close to white people. We it's just like these. It's the same thing like the dude that be dying in the island or in the lakes. It's the same thing. We don't just deal with them on the work association level. We want to go social with them, boating and hunting and all. I thought that African Americans knew better than that, than to go on water with white people. It's like you're supposed to know that. You don't go on water with white people. You don't go in the bush with white people. You feel me? You don't go no isolated areas with white people. Stay in the cities with them, and you more than likely be good. You feel me? But all this going in these strange places with them, we need to stop that stuff. They destroying us. But I'm done. I don't know what to say about nothing like that. All I know is we need to be more race conscious, situational conscious.
That reminds me of a story one time when I had a job. I was working in Massachusetts, and there's white people up there that they like to play baseball. They say, "Hey guys, only me and one of my coworkers, another black guy." They was like, "Oh, we're going to this field over here to play baseball." I was like, "What field is that?" And oh, the field over there. I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And my black friend was like, nah, you telling black people to meet you at a field that we don't know about? Fuck that. I ain't going to that. And everyone started laughing. Because out there we just know that there's racist people there. We just know that. And the white people who we hanging out with, I'm frank. I'm frank with them. You know what I'm saying? My friend, us being the only black people there, we're not playing. Okay, we know how you are. We just work together, but y'all white and y'all racist out here. You know what I'm saying? So if you invite me somewhere, I ain't just going to just any place where I don't know about. But yeah, I can fire. I feel you.
Out that job too much longer after that, I bet.
Yeah.
No comment.
Man, I can tell you stories about that job, man. Yeah, they kind of excommunicate me out that job, man. But yeah.
In the chat, since Sister Show is unavailable on the panel, in the chat, Sister Show says, I want black people to ask themselves a question. If the U.S. military fell today, Do you really think those whites you call your friend won't change up? She says, if we can be raw, at most during war, they will keep you alive for their sexual gratification and entertainment. Ouch. But I feel you on that, Sister Cheryl. Um, with that said, man, just moving down the line. Black Steel, you've heard everything everyone else had to say. What say you to all of it?
Man, that's an ugly situation these brothers are in. I hope they beat the case. Um, I hope they have good representation in the law. Black people should be able to defend themselves whenever they feel the need to defend themselves, right? The right to self-defense does not come from some laws printed on paper, right? That is something that is innate to every living thing. So I don't care how many people you try to lock up. Black people are going to defend themselves, be it with their fists, be it with a blade, with a gun, anything you can get your hands on, defend themselves. Do not let these people treat you as if you are a lamb to be led to the slaughter. All right. Many of the comments are on the thing where they make a lot of sense, right? Because the whole idea they're saying, oh, it was premeditated. Premeditation can happen in seconds, right? And that's what the prosecution is going to try to prove. But the fact that this man still had the weapon on him, yes, they were retreating, but he still had the gun on him. Who's to say he didn't have another round in the chamber? So they did right to make sure the threat was neutralized. And one thing that we learned when I took my class to get my gun is that you shoot to stop. You shoot to neutralize the threat. So until that threat has been completely neutralized, you don't stop. Now, once the threat is neutralized, then you stop. But if this man is still armed, and you know, in a sane world, in a world where people are smart and the law is the law, this would be an open and shut case. This wouldn't even went to no trial. But because we live, first of all, Florida is racist as hell, right? Florida used to be a purple state, you know, back when Obama was still president, right? And we may have a Democratic governor soon because they're fucking up. But this is the most racist, backward state. I hate when people say Florida is not really the South. Have you been to Florida? You think because we got a few nice beaches? If we got a few nice beaches and you got a couple of Cubans and Puerto Ricans, we're not the South. The world's largest Confederate flag flies over the junction of I-75 and I-4 in Hillsborough County, Florida. The biggest one in the world. It was so big they had to get it custom made. So don't tell me that Florida ain't the South. Malcolm X said, if you south of the Canadian border, you in the South. When it comes to racism. And he was so on point. But yes, black people defend themselves. These white people are emboldened by the actions of their pedophile. Somebody called him Pervert Hoover. So Pervert Hoover, you know, the pedophile in chief. These people are emboldened by his actions. We got to be ready to protect ourselves at a moment's notice. That means we arm ourselves. It means we travel in groups. I don't feel comfortable. And my son, he's 22 years old. He has a car, you know. He goes to work. He goes out with his friends, whatever. I don't feel comfortable letting him just go to the store because I know how these white people are. They feel like they can pick on you if you're by yourself. Okay. I'm always armed. Always. I don't go to work. I don't go to school. I don't go to the Walmart without having my gun on me, because that's what you have to do in this scenario. And yes, by all means, legal. Do what you got to do. But sometimes what's moral ain't legal, and what's legal ain't moral. All right. So you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself. I'll leave you there. Thank you.
Let's do the strap.
Blacks still have that thing
Oh,
on them
that's
all
why
the
they call
time.
you Black Steel. That's why they call you Black Steel because you got the steel.
I try to keep it on me, man. I try to go to the range at least twice a month, you know. And credit, my daughter went to the army, and she actually went to the army. She came back. She actually became a better shot than I was. So, you know, we had like a little competition going. But I'm always shooting. I'm always protecting myself. I want more. I want more guns because you never know. These people are crazy. You got to protect yourself at all times.
I know, Coco, I'm going to cut you off, but I'm going to repeat what Brother Bakari keeps saying, and we have to do this. We have to have a shoot the breeze conference, like a conference where a meet and greet shoot the breeze conference where everybody can meet. We need to pick a destination where we all could just meet. I would like to do that because you know what I'm saying. I want to be in the game of range. I can learn a lot from you guys physically, you know, say that I can't learn over a conversation. I just want to say that I think we need to plan that.
I appreciate that, and I second that, Brother Kofi. Sister Charlotte's back. Cheryl, what are your thoughts on everything you heard us discussing during Shooter Breeze topic number 2? When is it okay for Black people to defend themselves?
So if I'm just responding strictly to the question, like it's never okay for Black people to defend themselves because look at what's happening. Like they don't like, and this is the thing about Black people who have been in this country for 400 years, right? Black people who come to this country who say, I'm an American now. Like, you're not an American. Like that goes for both groups. You're not American in the same way that white people are American. You're just not. You might be able to get a pension, you might be able to get a nice job in a house, eyes of the law, you're not able to defend yourself. Not at least not in the same way that white people defend themselves because you're not American. You're not really. You're just here. You're here because it's necessary for you to be here because America needs they need a robust economy. That's why we're here. And I think people kind of we get lost up in the American dream. We kind of lose sight of that a little bit. And that's why I say like it's really good to let go as much as you can. I'm not saying like, oh, get rid of all material things, but like it's good to kind of slowly get away from those type of things. Like when people are like, oh, I got this car and I got this house and I got this job and da da da. We gotta really focus. If we can't do it, we have to start instilling that in our children because there's never going to be a situation or a scenario where your children and their children get into an altercation and you come out on top um, over them. It's not going to happen in droves. Like it's not going to happen like a whole lot. You might get one or two instances where they have to because it was so they the people the white people were so wrong. But you're never going to get like all of these situations where the black person wasn't in the wrong and they didn't get prosecuted and the white person did. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen because you're not a real American. You're not Americans. Like you are not white bread Americans. So like it's hard. Um, it's like really a hard pill to swallow. I think for a lot of black people, and that's why they tend to react to these scenarios that happen. They tend to react this way, like, oh, but if it happened to a white person, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Duh, because they're white, because this is their country. And we think we bought into integration so hard that we believe that this is our nation. We believe this is our country. If this is your country, you have some say so in these cases where it's blatantly obvious that the white person was in the wrong, or the white person was murdered. He engaged in murder. Like that alone tells you you're not an American. Whether you came over here as an immigrant or you've been a country, it doesn't matter. Like still a nation. Like you American, not because not should be considered, but never
Is Sister
okay.
Cheryl,
Crazy
is Sister
thing.
Cheryl breaking up, or is
Yeah,
that just me?
I think that's your side.
Breaking up, I can't hear what she's saying.
Huh? I'm breaking up.
Yeah. Sister Cheryl, are you still on the wireless earbuds? Okay, I guess Cheryl left. But yeah, if they tell you not to use wireless, to use wired earbuds.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Barely. You know, this 5G ain't worth nothing. I swear to God, I just switched over to this new phone and it's worth crap. Uh, Hold on.
All right, we'll come back to you, Sister Cheryl. Man, what's going on with the chat? The chat is real quiet. Trigger Happy 262 Plus says, fully reject Americanism and American identity is a must. I appreciate that.
Oh, this phone is
Um,
awful.
um, you know what? If there's no last thoughts from Bakari or Black Steel, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 tonight. I was hoping the folks who were here would have stayed. This is a topic I really would like to hear people's thoughts on. I came across this image the other day, and I thought it was an interesting thing. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 says, do you think there might be something to this? What are we talking about? This comes with a link that's going to take us to X. So on X, yeah, you guys see my screen. On X, I'll read the caption last. There's this image, and it says Black Americans are at the top, Caribbeans, Afro Latinos are in the middle, and Africans at the bottom. What is this referring to? Let's go to the caption. So this is from Ashanti Girlie. I'm sure a few of you are following her, etc. It says this is a very uncomfortable truth, but there is global hierarchy of blackness. Black Americans at the very top, Caribbeans and Afro Latinos in the middle, and Africans at the very bottom. Not only are Africans at the bottom globally, they are considered the lowest rung within the black race itself. This is not me trying to cause quote unquote division, but it's a reality that a lot of us are just now beginning to acknowledge. None of us chose this reality. Black people worldwide still go through anti blackness, some worse than others. So back to the image. It says Black Americans at the top. It says in parentheses that Black Americans have a culture that is duplicated, copied, and mimicked worldwide. They also come from the most wealthiest and powerful country on the planet, garnering them some form of respect overseas despite facing anti-blackness in the U.S. The Caribbean Afro-Latinos are at the middle. In parentheses, it says, often seen as quote-unquote exotic, fun, etc. Their culture is also recognized, but not as much as Black American culture. Then at the bottom are Africans, continental Africans, portrayed as savage, low IQ, dusty, ugly barbarians that no one wants to associate with. Goes through exotification occasionally, but it usually comes from a place of dehumanization. Cultures, languages, and foods are often mocked. Making fun of Africans is normalized. So I'll try to leave the image centered as best as I can on the screen. Let me do it this way. Yeah, let me do it that way. So I thought this was interesting because there is internalized Afrophobia amongst black folks. We talked about it several times during the course of this same episode. By the way, if you're listening and you were in the panel earlier, join the panel again. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this topic. So that's Kofi, Brother Anthony, if you're still available, I can fire and any in the chat who's interested in joining the conversation, join us for this discussion. So I'm gonna start with Black Steel on this one. Black Steel, do you think there might be something to this on the screen?
Man. Let me think. Let me think to myself. A global hierarchy of blackness, right? Okay, so who created this hierarchy? I'm wondering who is by who? Who has this hierarchy? Is it Europeans? Is it black people who have this hierarchy? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. As a Pan-Africanist, I see us as one people. We have different languages. Maybe we have different customs or different um, different cultures, but ultimately we are all one people. And I feel like this way of dividing black people puts us at odds with one another. And we got to be real careful, man. I've said this before. You got to be aware of the historical times that you're in right now. The Western world's global hegemony is collapsing, right? Africa can really become one of the you talk about a multipolar world. Africa can become one of those poles, right? But we got to take it for ourselves, right? And these are very subtle ways to keep black people divided against each other. So here's what they're saying. Okay, portrayed as savage, low IQ, dusty barbarians that no one wants to associate with. That could apply to every black person in the world. You think that white people don't see black Americans as dusty, low IQ, and ugly barbarians? You think they don't see black people from look at the way the Dominicans talk about the Haitians. You think they don't think this way? You think Caribbean culture isn't copied? These quote unquote stereotypes could apply to any black person in the world. They make fun of food. Hello. They make fun of black people. Oh, you like watermelon fried chicken? They do that already. So what the fuck are they talking about? You know?
Well, Black Steel,
yeah, go ahead.
I think the way I understood the post, I understood we know white folks ain't shit. We know how they look at all black people. I think this post was more so about this kind of a racial esteem hierarchy amongst black folks, where let's say the African might think that the Caribbean and the Black American looks at them as dusty, which we've heard Tariq Nasheed and the FBA types call Africans dusty and musty and all this kind of stuff. So I think we should discuss it from that standpoint. Do you think that there are black people who have this kind of hierarchy in their mind that Black Americans are the top, Caribbeans are second, and continental Africans are third? And before you go, I'll say this real quick. I think there is something to it because I see Caribbean folks who parrot every talking point of an FBA and an ADOS, even though those folks talk bad about them. But they're like the children of people from, directly from the islands or something like that. And they come on there, they come online and whatnot, and they talk about, my people told me not to deal with y'all and blah, blah, blah. And even they sometimes parrot the dusty African talking points and stuff. So I think that's where the conversation really resides. Not so much about what white folks think. We already know, but do black folks think this?
Okay, okay, Roger that, Roger that. Thank you for that clarification, Toku. Um, yeah, I can understand what you're saying because, like you said, there is a lot of low racial esteem, right? And it's unfortunate that many times many black people have internalized negative views about other black people. So if you're coming from that xenophobic, Afrophobic point of view to where black people are somehow inferior to white people, then yeah, I can understand why they would say that. But I do think overall though, it just goes to show how ignorant because any of these stereotypes can be weaponized against a black person at any time. It's crazy that you would think that, oh, they're not talking about me. Why wouldn't they be talking about you? You know? I think that's a crazy statement though. But yeah, I could definitely understand the point you're making, Koku, about as far as understanding why some black people, especially have low racial esteem. If you feel like, oh, we're better than those black people because whatever stupid reason they might have, right? And who knows? Who knows what reasoning they might have? But yeah, I could definitely understand why that mentality exists within some of the colonized people because they do hate being black. They hate each other. They hate themselves, and they want to put, oh, I'm not like those black people. I'm different. I don't eat jollof. I eat you know
Red
whatever,
rice.
red rice.
Red
Well,
rice.
no, it's something stupid, just some dumb distinction. They'll make this up to make themselves feel better than other black people. Or I'm better than these black people over here. I'm better than these because and I've heard these type of sentiments. I don't really get too involved in them because honestly, it's sad. It's sad that type of thinking exists with our people because we don't have any friends, Mike. I think we said this before. There's nobody coming to save us. We don't have no friends. There's nobody. Oh, black people, we're just. I don't know. It's really sad to me when people have that type of mentality. Like you really think that that you're a better black person because of where you were born in the diaspora? Like okay, the slave ship dropped me off here, so that means I'm better off than you guys are. It's just such a stupid um, mentality. But I'm not going to deny and say it doesn't exist because there are some black people who really do hate being black. There are. There's some who hate being black. They hate their ancestors. They hate. They believe every negative thing about black people. They believe it, but they want to escape the negativity by saying, "Oh, we're American blacks. Our situation is much better than that." Or we're black people from Latin America, and we were told not to associate with those black people. It's I don't. To me, the whole thing about not associating with us is crazy because you associate with white people, but who enslaved your ancestors, enslaved our ancestors, but the black people you can't associate with them. Like y'all really don't get it. So yeah, I don't understand the logic, but I can understand. I see some people who might necessarily believe that. There are some people who believe that type of nonsense. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
No problem, Black Seal. Yeah, if this was a bigger platform that had a mix of black folks, continental, and I'm talking about people outside of being Pan African like we are, because this is a strict Pan African panel. Most of the people here who come through here are Pan African and Black conscious. But if this was a wide group of black folks, I'm sure the chat would be going crazy right now with folks talking about, they're from the continent and other folks talking about, well, we from the Caribbean. Like it will go insane. This is a bigger platform, you know. With that said, let's hear from Sister Cheryl if she can hear me. Sister Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yes, can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So I'm gonna get around to the question, but just for conversation's sake, I'm just gonna say like what it was like when I was growing up.
All right. And I'm not saying that I believe in this. I'm just saying what the narrative that was being pushed like in the 90s and, early 2000s. So 90s, early 2000s, you know, even sometime before that, when people were first coming, when other groups of Black people were first coming over to the United States, it was, I guess it's more now because you have more social media, right? Like back in the 70s, 80s, you didn't really, there wasn't social media to stir up tensions as much. Like they probably did it, but it wasn't as much. But by the time you're getting to the 90s, you're hearing narratives, and this is before YouTube becomes big. You're hearing things like, oh, those Africans and those Caribbeans, they come here and they work hard. And you Americans are, you Black Americans are lazy. Da 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 da. They work hard. They come with $25 in their pocket, and they come to the country and they get houses and they get businesses. So if you can't do that, how? And then people are just like, oh well, you see Black Americans in America because they have no. When people come to America, they don't really have a history of what America is. They're just coming, they're fleeing war-torn countries, and not just black immigrants. There's all types of immigrants. They're fleeing war-torn countries, they're fleeing countries that have failing economies, they're fleeing countries that are just decimated by colonialism, right? So when they come to America, they're like, and then they see some people standing on a corner, they're just like, why are you standing on a corner? That's lazy. I'm here and my main objective is to work hard. And I work hard. And if you work hard, hard work pays off. Hard work pays off. Very respectability politics, very like that. That was what it was like with like growing up. That's what it was. And I had family members that would tell me like, well, you need to be working hard. You need to be working hard like these Chinese people, like these Asian people, because what was big back then? What was the propaganda back then? The Asian was the model minority, right? So you got all of these things coming and all of this propaganda and all of this stuff, and it's influencing how our people think about, I just use the Asian thing as an example, but it's influencing how our people think about different groups of Black people, right? And so now the narrative is changing, and they're putting this FBA stuff. The white platforms are putting the FBA stuff on front, right? They're getting the FBA thing when it first started. Nobody really knew what the heck FBA was or what it entailed. No, like it's been out for like 10 years, but just like now in the past couple of years, it's just starting to get some traction because the white media has picked it up because they found a way to use FBA against other groups of people. Just another divide and conquer tactic, like what was being discussed earlier. So now you have models like this that say Black American on the top, but in the 90s it was Black Americans. They have low IQs. They're outperformed by all immigrants, like including Black immigrants. It was crazy. It was crazy back in the 90s, stuff like that in the 80s. It was crazy. So now it's flipped. And social media is like, and white people that control these platforms, they're just like, okay, well, we'll just flip the script. We'll put Black Americans at the top, and we'll make them feel like they're above all people. Because all Black people have had all these little stereotypes and all these little things that these little divide and conquer kind of microaggressions that they picked up, and they don't even really know where it came from. Black people are very tribal. We just see other different types of Black people, and we just feel like it's got to be a thing, and that's a colonialism thing. That's like, and that's literally colonialism. Like regardless if you're on a continent or in America, but they flipped it now because like I'm looking at this and this looked crazy because growing up, it was like the opposite. It was like it was the total opposite. And even worse because it was like all immigrants are better, and Black Americans are at the very bottom because they perform poorly on tests and they have low IQs, but they don't really use that now, right? So now they're doing this, and it's I feel like it's just a mess. The only reason there's something to it is because white platforms have decided that it's important. I think was it Tucker Carlson recently? Maybe it was last year, maybe earlier this year. He started acknowledging FBA and he started saying, well, they do have a claim. It does make sense. You know, they have been here for 400 years. So therefore, he didn't never say he agreed with reparations. He just said that it makes sense that they want to delineate. And that really in itself is all Black people need to hear, is some validation from a white platform on YouTube. That I remember when that came, I was like, Tucker Carlson, the only reason he is saying that is because he's so upset with the immigration problem that's happening in America and in Europe, and he's mad because all these Black people are flooding into America and all of this stuff. That's the only reason he's agreeing with that. But to a Black person who's not political, they're just like, oh yeah, FBA, yeah, we have a claim. See, even the white people agree. Like, like it's madness. And this is why when Black people say they're not political, this is why you need to be political. Because white people, this is what I mean with white people. White people are not just going to agree with you for any old reason, just because they think it makes sense. They agree with it because it supports their claim to the fact that they do not want Black immigrants in America. Like that's what that's what that whole thing is about. They don't mind the white immigrants. That, you know, some of the Arabs may be able to get past, but they don't want no Black immigrants. So them agreeing with FBA, Black people, because they're not political, they think white people are agreeing because it makes sense. No, white people are agreeing because they if they can say one small group of Black people has more right to the country than other groups of people, then that's better. It's not the best, but it's better for white people, because it means now I can galvanize that small but powerful group of Black people, Black Americans, against, and I can put them against the push for TPS, temporary protective status. I can use Black Americans as a springboard to get them out. And that's really what this is about. That's really what this is about. And I'll leave it there.
So real quick, Sister, so do you believe though? Because again, we know what white folks are doing, divide and conquer. But do you believe that deep down a lot of Black folks, particularly in the West, have this hierarchy in their mindset?
I think they're trying to make it a thing. Because aside from, because you'll always have Black Americans that'll say, oh, I don't want to eat that African food, or, oh, them clothes or the hair, da 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 da. You'll always have Black Americans that say that, but they're trying to make an elitism type of thing where it's Black Americans are more elite than this section. And I think they're trying that, but I don't think it's happening, because look, when you go to Black neighborhoods, it's always a mix of Black people. Like if you go to like Black neighborhoods in the South, you'll get Black Americans, you'll get Haitian Americans, you'll get Jamaican, and they'll all have like, is it white collar jobs? So I don't know how well that's going to work. That might work for Black people who are like working class and poor class and stuff like that. But that, I don't know. They trying it. You know how the Black people be like, you tried it. Like they really trying. But I don't like. I see the Tariq Nasheed people. I think that was the purpose of them giving FBA a platform on Tucker Carlson's show. So they're trying to do it, and I think they're getting some people. But if you go out into the Black population, like right now, I don't know. I just just talking to people, just randomly just talking to people in different states. I don't know. But they're trying. They're trying.
Appreciate that, Sister Cheryl. In the chat, I put up a lot of comments Trigger made. So if you're listening on Spotify, it's a video. You could look at the comments that I put up on the screen. If you're listening on playback, please pay attention to the screen as well. But this comment here is what's going to lead to my follow up once I hear from everyone on the panel. It says that's why it honestly depends. It becomes a localized thing. Will this image make sense on a global scale? So I appreciate that second sentence. That's gonna be my follow-up question. Let me hear from Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, what say you?
Hell yeah. They're trying to create a hierarchy. Look, man, it doesn't make a difference. I have a buddy that calls he's FBA and ADOS. But anyway, it doesn't make a difference what it is and where it is. According to them, Black Americans created and those other Black people trying to be like them. So hell yeah, they're trying to. I call it white arrogance. I think Trigger Happy put in there some American exceptionalism, but it's the white arrogance, and these Black people feel being in the same vicinity as white people, or being in it. They attempt to use white arrogance. Have it been created? Yes. Thanks in large to social media. Was it always there in a sense? Yeah. Just study why Zopound, the Haitian gang, was created. And you would see it was created because of how, since they are Black Americans and they ain't African American, I separate myself from them because I'm African American. Look and see how Black Americans treated them. They created Zopound to defend themselves. Coming into a Black neighborhood trying to live amongst their people, they created a gang to defend themselves from them people. Then look and see how they talk about Africans. Shit, when they did that damn movie Boys in the Hood and they got to fight, I ain't from no Africa. I ain't no African booty scratcher. I'm Crenshaw Mafia. That white arrogance is out loud now because of social media. So yes, they have created that a global hierarchy. They want to create in this country, there's a hierarchy, and the Black people from the South is at the bottom. They less than the Black people from up north. They're less than the Black people from and we can say what white people did, but we can't constantly blame everything on like white people as if we don't have a brain. So regardless of what white people said on TV and how they feel, it's these Black people thinking and saying this shit because they think they are better than they talk. Well, when they come here, they don't want to live around us. They don't want to live around us most of the time for several reasons. Now, if you want to talk about white folks, so look at the image white folks have shown Black people around the world of Black people from the United States. So when people come here, I understand what they have done, and they tell you to stay away. But we have to be grown enough to say, you know what? I have a mind. I can use my that's your strongest muscle. And if you learn to use it, and then when you can use it under pressure, when you can think under pressure, you are damn great. And we under pressure. And you see how a lot of us think, and we allow with the ignorance and the stupidity with the things that come out of our mouth. Anybody who will follow a FBA or AOS or an Aboriginal, Indigenous, or completely let people convince you to get rid of what your ancestors called themselves, African American, to just say, I'm a Black American. And when you just say Black American, trust me, you are accepting the fact you ain't African no more, and you are just this I call it white arrogance. I've heard more people use the term American exceptionalism. But when you just say you're a Black American, we the only people that been taught to get rid of our ancestors, to try to be under these people. So yes, Black people participate and have created a global hierarchy in the Black people in the United States because they think they are better than other folks, just like white people from the United States. Even though Ricky Rubio, Marco Rubio, even though they're in America, they're going to always be children of Europe. Yeah, they're going to be children of Europe, but they think they are better. In Black people, the slave is trying to emulate the slave owner. On that, I hear the mic.
Appreciate all of that, Brother Bakari. I appreciate it a lot. Kofi has returned. Kofi, have you been following the conversation?
Yeah, I kind of had to zoom in on this ridiculous FBA tether feather Adolf nonsense. Like this is crazy. A- And when you try, you cannot have a logical, good faith discussion with these people who made this post, because they're saying we're the problem here. These All of these people are the same people. What is the difference? Is where they are geographically. So why? So the difference is that where we are geographically, it all boils down to proximity to whiteness, right? Like our brother Anthony, he would pretty much call it plantation bragging. So they feel they're better because they're in America, and America being a superpower, they feel that they done something, that they done something great, like they won the plantation lottery. So by them doing nothing but simply just being born, right? And them again, when these FBAs and people always call you tether, remember it's always projection. They are tethering themselves to white people. They are tethering themselves to white culture. They are tethering themselves to white government. They are tethering themselves to white ideologies and thought and how they see and view the world. I talk to these people, you know, the groups of people who I talk to. This is their justification of why they feel they are better. Not anything that they're done. And all the work that they say that they put in, right? They don't have that same energy. They don't have that same mindset and thought. So they'll talk about Malcolm X. They talk about Francis Welsing. They'll talk about all these people that do not share their ideology. So when they do this whole hierarchy thing, it's all about being proximity close to whites, because the ones that's in the middle and the ones that are in the bottom, if you look at it, it's further away from whiteness. The two at the bottom, they fought. They have a country of their own that they control. Say whatever problems that they have. They have a litany worth of problems, but guess what? They have some form of independence that they are self-governing themselves. It's like I remember the video, a short video. Remember, it was an old video they had in the 80s. It was Farrakhan talking to George Wallace, and he was saying, "Look at Nigeria. Nigeria is the most, I would say, corrupted country in the world." And Farrakhan said, "Oh, shame. Oh, shame. Look at Nigeria." He said, "Nigeria is a nation that just found itself." He said, "But look at America. 200 years in, and you should not be casting more condemnation on a country like that. And out of all the things that you did and you still doing, you have not apologized for it." So when I look at this is how I look at it, because I know how these people think. And they have, and another thing, you put their feet to the fire, because you got these big FBA. I mean, they don't touch grass. They only online. They have all these names, like a guy named Afro Elite. These Africans this, these Caribbeans that. I'm like, this stupid ass bitch. Afro means African. Afro means African. So how you're an Afro Elite? He don't even got an Afro, but his name is Afro Elite, and he does not have an Afro, and he is not African. So if you're not African, how's your name is Afro Elite? Because it's just so stupid. And when you ask, okay, do you think that black doesn't mean African. And then the conversation would either go to, well, we created black. Y'all never use the word black, which is wrong. Again, we're talking to mental midgets, or they would say something to the effect of it's sometimes I feel stupid that I'm being baited into these nonsensical conversations that has nothing to do with facts or history. It's just them feeling that, okay, I have someone to belittle, right? Because when you think about it, and I kind of get it, because if you're in a country and you always feel you're at the bottom, right? And someone is like, hey, look, someone gives you hey, here's a punch bag you could beat up and it won't hit back. Because you're not going to beat up on the Hispanics. You're not going to beat up on the Asians. And you're definitely not going to beat up on the whites. So what you going to do? You're going to beat up on black people. You're going to beat up on your own people. Because we ain't really gonna hit back, swing back, and there's not gonna be any real consequence of it. So when we look at this graph, you really have to see this is a cry for help. And Black Americans, the ones that are, the idiot Black Americans, I call them FBA. So obviously. So when I say FBA, I'm talking about the stupid Black Americans. So you have the FBAs that have no sense of history, sense of knowledge, no sense of military tactician of how war works, either psychological or physical. Because when you look at this, when you see them, they don't know no other way to fight back. So if you think that the white man is all powerful, white man is all this, you think, how did that? Maybe they know it or not, constantly, okay, how do I make someone feel bad? How do I take power from somebody socially, economically? How do I do that? Okay, I gotta belittle them. I gotta dehumanize them. And once I do that, then I feel all powerful. And that's what I see what they do. Is pretty much a white supremacist playbook. And they do hold the same thing. So they gotta do this hierarchy thing. Because like Dr. Claude Anderson says, and a lot of economics says, like, hey, look, black people need to come together, get our money together, to have some industry and have some businesses, right? They like to praise Dr. Claude Anderson. So, but what Dr. Claude Anderson is kind of coming into fruition as far as like, where's the black wealth? So now you have black immigrants, which makes the smallest minority of immigrants in this country, along with other immigrants, is taking on charge of industries, STEM programs and IT and technology. So now, we got the tellers, they're this, to that. It's very similar to what's going on in South Africa. If you were able to sustain your industries and you corner the market on certain industries and services, why would you care of someone that has next to no skills be a threat to you? I don't think people like again, it's a whole false bravado type of thing, a whole American exceptionalism, false bravado that they have. We're this, we're the best, and we're that. Yeah, but you're upset and you feel threatened by the guy that you say that's an Uber driver, Ubuntu, the Uber driver. Why are you spending hours of live of Uber drivers and Uber deliverers? Why? Because you are those people. You do the same thing. You feel threatened by those people. I do not feel threatened by a bunch of people that wants to be janitors, that wants to be nurses. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about nurse practitioners or head nurses, nurses. Just regular average jobs. Why would you feel threatened like that? Because they don't got your shit together. So what they do, you gotta lash out. You always gotta punch down. You don't want to punch up. Because if these FBAs punch up, it's just going to come crashing down their head. And that's pretty much it. I'll yield the mic.
Appreciate that, Kofi. Thanks for coming back. I was really curious to hear what you would say about this. Just as a side note, before I let Sister Cheryl go, just as a side note, the lady who posted this, I do believe she's Pan-African. And I do believe she's just making an observation, particularly in the West, about black folks. So that's going to lead me to my follow up question. After Cheryl goes, I will follow up. Cheryl, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think as a people, like all of us together on this panel, FBA tends to come up a whole lot. Um, I think we need to protect our mental health when we're listening in on, YouTube personalities like Tariq. You got to really protect your mental health on this one because these people that are responding under his page, they're ahistorical. They don't even know what they want to believe. They don't. These are ahistorical people. Don't let these people uh, elicit a response out of you. These people don't know anything. And okay, so I'm Black American, right? But what I don't want to happen is I don't want people to say people who are not Black American but are Black. When I say they say, "Oh, where you from?" And I say, "Oh, I'm Black American." And then they say, "Oh, but where are you from?" I said, "But like I'm I I have to respond a certain way because this FBA thing has gotten so out of control. Okay, that if I say, my people have been here for 400 years, automatically they think, oh, you're a FBA. See, this is this is the danger of social media and constantly consuming yourself with people like Tariq. Because now when I say that, people are like, oh, she might be FBA. I've gotten that a couple of times, and I'm just like, no, that's just the history. that's just that's just the reality, it's just where that's just how it happened. That's how the cookie crumbled. I don't have any allegiance to no FBA thing, but they're trying to make it. Okay, they're trying to make FBA a thing. And yes, there are African Americans that truly believe that they are American, but it's because they've been in the country for so long. And let me tell you, the majority of African Americans are just like a lot of our people all over the globe. They're very ahistorical. Okay. Um, I think the main thing that we need to be focused on is the fact that everybody, no matter what group you're in, if you're Black, is aspiring, they're white aspiring. Some may be more upfront about it than others. Like, I feel like you have some groups of Black people that will, for instance, they will, okay, so because I'm married to a Jamaican man, right? Never in my life before have I seen a Jamaican person give so much allegiance to Britain. And it's because I was a historical in that, in the sense that I didn't understand why, right? They're doing that because Jamaica is under the British Commonwealth, right? We have to put things in context when we're talking. We can't just keep reacting off of things, crazy things that people say. If we know people are ahistorical, just leave them in their ahistoricalness. So same with Nigeria. Nigeria is named after, it's named by a white woman. The whole country of Nigeria, just like many of the other countries in Africa, it, the names that they have are from colonialism. So we have this thing where we like to pick and prod at other groups of people. That's a form of tribalism. That's tribalism right there. When we say, well, these Nigerians, or we say these Caribbeans, or now we're calling them FBA now, or if we have this thing where we don't like context as a people. um and so I think we just need to keep things like that in context when we're, and yeah, people say crazy stuff. I'm not denying that. People say crazy stuff. But
protect your mental health. Please just don't. Please stay away from people like Tariq. Stay away from people who are, um, my country, my country, my country, but don't know really the history of their own country. We gotta really kind of make it past that, because we don't even, first of all, we don't even know who even made this post. I strongly suspect that it is a non-black person that made this post. Okay, we don't have verification on that. Um, we can't let this thing stir up, because they trying to make it a thing. And yes, it is similar to South Africa in the sense that it's tribalism, but it's not similar in the sense that there's not no African Americans out here killing non-African American black people. That's not happening. That's happening in South Africa, because that's a whole nother level. That's a whole different cultural context. It's similar, but it's different. So I think we just gotta like really just ignore those type of people, and I'll keep it there.
Yeah, I'll say that. Me personally, I protect my mental health. I don't follow up with too much of the FBA ADOS shenanigans. At first, I was concerned. I'm still concerned, but I'm not sitting here reading tweet after tweet, going on, watching panel after panel talking about FBA anymore. There's work to do. But the follow up question I have for this prompt is that, again, do you think there might be something to this? And like I said, I think there is something to this. As far as I know, the lady who posted this is a Pan African, by the way. And they're speaking to a certain mindset that's been created. And we know who created the mindset, like Bakari was saying, who perpetrates, who extends the mindset now. And my follow up question is, if continental Africans see themselves this way, as described in the image, or Caribbean and Afro Latino see themselves that way, which, by the way, as a Caribbean person, I could tell y'all, a lot of Caribbean folks do see themselves as the exotic, fun type. I'm talking about those without a black consciousness. But my question is, if continental Africans see themselves this way, is there hope for the continent? Anyone can answer.
I don't like dealing with absolutes because people are varies. So there's no group think of how everyone thinks. Everyone's not a monolith, and Africa is not free of. So you see this totem pole of nonsense here. So one of the things I said they have all in common, we all have been colonized, whether we're on the continent or off the continent. My wife just got her hair braided. I went to go pick her up. I think I don't know what country they're from. It's only my second time being there. I never really talked to them. So, but they're Muslim, so they're probably most likely they could be West African if they're doing hair braiding. Is my assumption. They're hair braiding everything. You would not know. Obviously, we're all the same people. If you were to put a West African, an East African, a Caribbean, a Black American in the same room, you would not know, right? But while all this was happening, my wife was finishing. See a woman right there in the corner with her job, the whole thing, and she's on her mat praying, praying, praying. That is a form of colonialism. So I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know. The question I think is better: how many African-centered people who is proud Africans unapologetically feel like that? Because you have people that feel like that and they'll have an Arabized mind. You have some other African people who will feel like that and they have a Christianized mind. I've seen documentaries. I've spoken to Africans and things like that, and some of them are really no different than us as far as how we see ourselves, right? Because we think these institutions that were colonized and how we were raised in our upbringing is right and is correct, so we don't question it. I was on a TikTok for the first time in my life, and there was a bunch of black people there, and it was about about the Bible and stuff like that. And these oh yes, brother, we love you. You just need to come to Jesus and all this other stuff. And I'm literally being kicked out because I'm asking challenging questions, right? And those are Black American people. No different when I ask my Senegalese Wolof person who's Muslim when I challenge them. It's not a real difference at all. I don't know if I'm answering your question or not as far as hierarchy or whatever, but Africans are pretty much just like us. But I'll let the panel answer it.
Ask the question again, Coco. Please, sir.
Yeah, the follow-up question is that if we agree that there are people in the world who have this hierarchy in their head, wherever they fit, because a lot of you spoke of FBA and stuff, but there could be some Caribbean folks who think of themselves in the middle as well. And there could be continental African folks who think of themselves as at the bottom. My question is, if we have a swath of continental Africans who think of themselves as dusty barbarians and this, that, and the other, what does that do to our struggle? How does that not help us, basically?
Oh, when you don't think nothing of yourself, your struggle, you just continue to struggle. You will continue to struggle because you're still looking for someone else to do something for you because you're dusty and barbarian and you need someone. I can't think of that one African dude name that wear the glasses that go around and this whole thing is just the ish on the Africans. But you would need someone else to come and do anything, to do any and everything for you. You will forget who you are. That's to the Black Americans. I'm an African American. That's to the but we forget who we are. You forget the things you have done and what you have accomplished and what you can do because you don't think you're worth a damn. But that's why around the world globally, we stay stagnant. I got to take this call.
Appreciate that, Brother Makai. Anyone else want to respond to that? All right. By the way, shout out to Sister Raw, who's in the chat. Shout out to Provide Triggers for Evolutions, who says greetings. I came a bit late to listening to the conversation as I was engaged earlier. Well, thanks for coming through. Thanks for having us in mind to even come through at the end. Provide Triggers for Evolution asks a question. Would the panel agree that there is a relationship between capitalism and thinking hierarchically? That's a great question. Thank you for that. Provide Triggers. Let's go down the line with that one. Let me start with Sister Cheryl. Sister Cheryl, would you agree that there is a relationship between capitalism and thinking hierarchically among Black folks? All right, I guess Cheryl's not there. Black Steel, what say you?
I think the ideas of hierarchy actually predate capitalism, right? Even before we had capitalism, we had people believing in hierarchies and even how they judge humanity. I think that's something that's innate to us as a species, as hell as primates, really, if you look at it from that perspective. But no, I don't think that it actually probably something that is prior or predates capitalism. And I think that human beings naturally tend toward hierarchies. That's why we've always had kings or chiefs or leaders of some type. But I do think that the capitalist system exacerbates that problem, right? And I think it also puts the profit motive in an aspect of it as well, too.
I like that. Kofi, what say you? Maybe Kofi left as well. Is Cheryl there? Bakari? Anyone else?
I think I'm the last man standing.
Yeah, looks like it. In chat, Trigger Happy says it always depends on the hierarchy.
This
The
message
hierarchy.
for anyone chasing a dream.
I gotta pause your mic there. It always depends on the hierarchy. A hierarchy of basic organization and function is no issue, but aggressive hierarchy and dysfunction and unevenness is capitalism thinking. He goes on to say more deeper, that's European thinking, right? And then provide Trigger's thanks back Steel for his thoughts on that. You know what, Black Steel? Looks like it's just me and you left. So before you leave, I'd like you to give me your shout outs for this week. What would you like to shout out this week, Black Steel?
Shout out to our brother Ibrahim Traore. He found out that some of the people he was sending to Saudi Arabia were supposed to be learning trades, and instead they were learning Sharia law. So he said he didn't want those people back in his country. They could not come back to Burkina Faso. So shout out to him for standing up against Islamic fundamentalism and standing up for African people. So shout out to him.
Now that's interesting. I saw the headline where he was talking about Sharia law will not be practiced in his country. You know, be Muslim if you're Muslim, but Sharia law will not be practiced. We want more kind of excellent people. You know, there's a way I put it in my head when I read it. Now I can't think of what I said. But yeah, put the religion in your back pocket, basically. We trying to work and build this country. But you added something to that context that I didn't know. So these were folks who were supposed to be learning engineering, but instead they were learning Sharia law.
Correct.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Brother Bakari is back. Brother Bakari, what shout out would you like to give this?
Let me give a shout out to the panel. And of course, you, gracious host. Shout out to the chat. But can I answer the question right quick about hierarchy and capitalism?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it go hand in hand. Capitalism, I don't think people like to say I think capitalism has always been around. And the people who had the most capital was the ones that was in charge. Capitalism is not new. In the hierarchy, being in charge, just think about it. Let's just go back to our continent. One thing they like to say, if you had the most goats, you understand what I'm saying? You were the most powerful. Or in Mansa Musa case, he was going to be the most powerful, and he was going to be in charge. And it doesn't make a difference what part of the world, what continent that you own. The capital, if you had the most capital, you were at the top. You can go from Asia to Europe, you can from Arabs to the white folks to the Native Americans over here. That's how it been. It goes hand in hand. Does not mean it's right, but shit, it really goes hand in hand. They're together. That's why the Black Americans think they're better than think they're better than African people because they feel they have the most money. That's a Dr. Claude Anderson talking point. Black American, call yourself a Black American because you're a special people and you're different from other African people. If you listen to the lectures, he said it several times. That's why I always reject that and tell people don't call me that. But that's where they come from. So they think they're better because they think they make more money. We got more money. We got this. Look how great America is. It goes hand in hand, my man. And on that, I yield the mic. And thanks for allowing me to speak. Let me be on your panel.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you. Sister Cheryl in the chat says Jamaicans abroad think they are better than Jamaicans in Jamaica. And the world turns. Is Kofi there? I'm hearing some noises.
Yeah,
Is that
I'm
Kofi?
here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm I'm gonna respond to what the Cheryl said. That's kind of true. People be from the Caribbean. And there's even a video someone made for my country, and it was like a parody of they went to America, and they came back, and they all acting like they're better than all the rest of the Guyanese people. Saying, "Yes, I've been to America, girl, and yeah, man, I did it." It's like what? It's just a thing. So I Brother Macquarie put it perfectly. I would say the same exact thing. Saying capitalism has always been around. The currency of exchange may have differ, but the principle is still the same. Who had more goats? Who had more cows? Who had more wives? Who had a bigger military? Well, you need money to finance and to nurture a military. That's just nature, pretty much, right? There's always a queen bee. Why is the queen a queen bee? Because she's the one that gives life to the colony, right? Because it's a part of nature that we have. So capitalism was always there, and it's kind of what I was speaking about before. FBAs, aka Negro opinions, think that they won. Going what my brother Anthony McPhee would say, that they won the plantation lottery by just being born, not by putting in any work, not by setting your own table, just by riding the white man's coattails and saying, "Well, look at us, we make more money than you guys." And it's like, okay, and I had this conversation before. Forgive me if I sound harsh. That's like, hey, you're just a bunch of well-paid niggas. Like, okay, even if I go to my humble dirt mound country, at least this dirt mound is mine. No one could take it. I don't have to keep paying taxes on it. No one will a white man's not gonna come here and claim internet domain and forever have it and take it away from me. You know what I'm saying? So when you have these conversations with these people, you like yours. Okay, how it's yours? What system of economic capital that you have that you're fighting for? You know what I'm saying? So you're fighting your brothers on one hand, and you're playing nice with the white man on the other hand. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's a lose-lose situation. So when they talking about capitalism has always always been around. Say what you say about Dr. Anderson. I do agree with that on Brother McCarry because he kind of double talks. But one thing he did say is true that black people need to get our own. So when Dr. Anderson was talking about, hey, in 2015, Black Americans will be an official underclass. There's videos of him on the Breakfast Club saying, hey, look, the only thing that black people produce is sweat. Because we're the best at all the things that involve balls, football, basketball, baseball, all that is sweat. No one wants to buy sweat. So Dr. Claude has his moments of where he's telling the truth and sometimes where he's not. But all of it is about black people getting together and having something of their own. And I think in Black America and everywhere across the globe, we're struggling to keep what we have, or struggling as far as like Black America is concerned, struggling to get what we deserve. So I end it right there.
Before you go, Kofi, what'd you like to shout out this week?
I would say basically you, man. I would like to say basically you for putting the show, continuously having the show, having a platform where everyone can convene and come together. And as well as the chat for keeping the conversation going. That's pretty much it, and as well as the panel.
All right, appreciate that. My shout out, Cheryl's shout out is to Kofi. My shout out is to you guys, and my shout out. You know what? My shout out is going to be to Kofi as well. Kofi is now the fourth person who has said we got to meet up. I'm waiting for those numbers to pick up just a bit. More people from the chat, per se, who want to meet up, and then we can start talking about where. Where's the most convenient spot for everyone from the south, from the north, come together and commune. So thanks, Kofi, for that. Thanks for that reminder. Hey, man, we'll be back next week. It'll probably be me hosting, so brace yourself. But until then, man, you guys be good. You guys take care of yourselves. Remain African. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.